Shalom, 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 mishpachah. What's going on, family? This is your brother DivineProspect of Kingdom Harbinger Ministries, and we're going to do a late night session tonight. I'm not going to stay on too long. Had a long day, so I'm pretty tired. I'm going to try to make this about an hour and a half and then try to get some rest. Interestingly, I was trying to get a couple of people to come on to have a dialogue with, but it seems that, I don't know, people be changing their mind last minute, making excuses and all that other stuff. So fortunately, today I'm unable to get somebody for this episode, but it's all good. All right. With that being said, I'm going to give you all a little bit of time to come on in. As you come in, hit the thumbs up. As you come in, hit the thumbs up. All right, let me give you a couple of updates. So Sunday, I have my award ceremony for my degree. So that will be recorded. It won't be live, but it will be recorded, and it will be placed on Patreon, right? So if you have Patreon, you'll be able to see that. Also on Patreon, I'm going to give you a tease of my dissertation. We'll give you the cover, the abstract, and maybe some of the introduction. So you can kind of see what type of work I put in order for me to get the award degree that I'm getting. So it's been, a lot of work that I put in to get to this point. And I just want to pave the path for others that are also seeking to, get degrees and awards in this realm, right? So that ceremony is on Sunday. It's from noon to whenever. There's no end date. It's going to be outdoors at a park as well. So again, I'll record the footage and it'll be up next week on Patreon. All right. So if you're a Patreon member, you'll be able to see that. And also as a Patreon member, you'll be able to see some of my dissertation. Okay. All right. So Tuesday is my birthday, Earth Day. So on Tuesday, I wanted to start the classes, but again, because I didn't officially promote it, I'm not going to start the classes yet. However, I want to do a live stream on Tuesday because a lot of people ask me the same question over and over again, and that is celebrating birthdays against the Most High, right? So what I want to do on my particular Earth Day is address this, right? Again, when it comes to that, I don't make a big deal about it because that's not something I indulge in like that, but others may. And I think that people need to have more clarity in regards to the Semitic realm, as it pertains to the ancient pre-Israelite cultural, way of life. If that's something that was practiced by them, all right, what is their perspective on that? So on Tuesday evening, I'll go live and talk about that with y'all. Okay. Next Friday, I'll be doing my Friday night live, Friday Freestyle Friday as usual. And then I'll be working on the sessions that I have for y'all. I have 2 exclusive sessions for Patreon, and then I have exclusive session for YouTube that's coming soon. But I have a message that I'll be sharing. I won't be able to record it tonight because the time it takes to edit and all that other stuff is just extra. So the message is called From the Pasture to the Palace. Okay. Very, very great message that will be available for next Sabbath, right? So Sunday will be the ceremony. Tuesday will be the live stream on the Earth Day. Friday will be our Freestyle Friday like we normally do. And we can go from there. Okay. All right. So I didn't really advertise this Freestyle Friday. I mean, y'all can share it. Definitely. If you're coming on in, hit the thumbs up button. All right. Thank y'all for hanging out late. I appreciate that. Oh, Lizzie Liz, really? Interesting. Who was that? Who is this individual you're referring to? And what exactly did they say? Maybe we can help clear that up in here in case anybody else may encounter that. We can address it. Okay, so let me give a couple of shout outs. And then do our session. Keeping enough strength in me so I can stay awake again. I was anticipating on having a guest, but they all flake on me. So, all right. So a couple of shout outs. Let me give a shout out to Andrew Edwards. Shalom. It's just a conversation. Shalom. Arcadia Music Group. Shalom. Jimmy Johnson. Shalom. Zen Humara. Shalom. Scott Garrett Headley. Shalom. Hoshea Yahawada. Shalom. Kevin Powell. Shalom. Sean Williams. Shalom. Eric Tinsley. Shalom. Black Ave. Shalom. Shema. Shalom. Thank you. Appreciate that. Ezra, shalom. Paul Brassfield, shalom. Lizzie Liz, shalom. Kia Ya, shalom. The Village Faction, shalom. Ice Cole, shalom. Wide Awake, shalom. Karen Gittin, shalom. Josek, shalom. Scott Garrett Headley, shalom. Feed the Spirit, shalom. Shalom. Remarkable Ministries, shalom. Main Man, shalom. Deanne Denai, shalom. Melanie the King, peace and shalom. Tyron P, shalom. Yapag Kalaya Kimberly M, shalom. Spend my bucks on weed. Shalom. Devion Baker, shalom. My brother Oriyahu Ben Shem, shalom. Main Man, yes. There is a Q&A tonight if y'all want that. I mean, my verbal and mental acuity may not be as sharp as it normally is. But yes, I'm okay with that. Shout out to Elder Leslie Fields in the building. Shalom. LAE. Shalom. Malak. Yahiz Kiyahu. Shalom. Akim. Let me see. The Epic Faster. Shalom. All right. So, as y'all continue to trickle in, again, make sure you guys share this link. All right, for me, I won't be able to do it. Put it in as many Facebook groups as you know to on all your social media platforms. Get more people in it. Hit the thumbs up button. If you're brand new, hit the share. If you're brand new, hit the share button and the subscribe button. That's what I meant. Well, you can do both if you're brand new. Okay. Wow. Shout out to Bait, Yisrael in the building. Shalom. No, the ceremony issue code is on Sunday. It's on Sunday. All right. Lizzie Liz says, hi fam, I've been waiting all day for this. I appreciate that, sis. I love it when people get excited for our Freestyle Friday sessions, man. I might be somewhat laid back today because I'm a bit tired. I don't want to fall asleep with y'all on camera. It's going to look crazy if I fall asleep on camera. And be like, yeah, just going to watch me sleep. And no, I don't teach in my sleep. Okay. I don't. Shout out to Yeti Hebrew Dre. Shalom. All right. So we got a small crowd today, mostly because I didn't advertise it or whatnot. And we started pretty later than usual. So let's dive into it. All right. Shout out to the true people of the Bible in the building. Shalom. All right. So I want y'all to see what we got new on the Patreon. For those of you who subscribe to Patreon, those of you who are brand new and not sure we have on the Patreon, we have tons of content. What I'm adding now are self-help books that'll teach you permaculture, teach you about homesteading, teach you how to make your own soaps, your own oils, your own shampoo, your own lotion, all right, etc. So we're going to put more and more of those self-help books up there so that you can read it and learn how to start producing for yourself, for your family, and for your community. All right. Who is that Epic Faster? I don't know who you're talking about. Shout out to Gavin Miller. Shalom. Valerie Romo in the building. Shalom. All right. So on the Patreon, there's going to be several of these self-help books. I'm going to show you a couple of them. All right, because the objective is I want y'all to learn as many skills as possible so you can take care of your family, your friends, your community. And in the absence of modern conveniences, you know how to survive, right? Because a lot of us, if you had to make soap, can y'all make soap? If you had to make a shampoo or lotion, can y'all do that? Do you know what homesteading is? Do you know how to raise farm animals, small and large farm animals, the differences between them? What about permaculture, right? Do you guys know how to do an irrigation system if you need it? All of these things are important skills. All right. What about welding, right? If you have to weld something or construction, right? We have one on there about random earth houses. We have one on there about earth ships. You know what I'm saying? All of these things is on there. So not only do I give you books with tons of information in regards to, you know, Israelite history, culture, the scriptures, you know what I'm saying, academic material, but also stuff that's going to empower you to actually do something. So our Patreon is a gift that keeps on giving, right? There's so much content on there, so many things to read, to watch on there. I mean, you can never finish that in a year or two. It's going to take you some time. You know what I'm saying? And we continuously load stuff on it. All right. Yes, aquaponics as well. I am purchasing a new aquaponics system that I'll have somewhere in this either space area or somewhere in my foyer area. If you're interested in aquaponics, I have a great resource on that. I'll add it to the Patreon so that way you guys can have it as well. Okay. Aquaponics is essential, but not just aquaponics in a controlled environment, but aquaponics in the real world, right? Do you know how to create an aquaponics system in the real world, right? That's extremely important. But again, that's why we have the Patreon, because we want to empower you to do for self. All right. So, you know, action Morays. Hey, Moray, thank you for all this information. But hey, can you show me how to do this? Can you show me how to do that? How can I do this for myself? I could do that for myself. And then we have other material I'm putting on there to assist you with supplemental revenue as well. If you want to make a little bit of money on the side, a legit way you could do so passively. We're going to put some of those materials up there as well, so you can do so. You know, I have 2 of those that I use for small supplemental income. So I'm going to share it with y'all and just put the information up there so you guys can get it as well. All right. All right. Shout out to Lisa Anderson. Shalom. So let's see. Has anyone found the book Hitler used as propaganda, where his scientists found the American Negro Arabs agents have more claim to being Jews than Europeans? I've been looking for months. I don't have that. I seen it. I seen the source that was shared on social media before, but I personally don't have it. So I cannot share that to you, my brother. If somebody does, then they can talk to you about it in there, but I don't personally myself. All right. Shout out to Chronicles of the Moon in the building. Shalom. All right. I don't. So let me go ahead and show y'all guys and gals what's new on Patreon. If you have Patreon, you are aware of what's going on. If you don't, I want to tease you for what you are missing. Okay. Tease you so you can see what you're missing. Like I said, if you don't see a lot of content on YouTube, that's because I've been working behind the scenes on a lot of things, right? But things in June is going to start to taper off, so I have more time, so I can do more stuff. It's just been very difficult trying to push through January to May of this year, man. Very difficult to push all the way up to this point. And I'm just very excited for Sunday. And to teach this message on Tuesday. So stay tuned for that. There'll be some great content that you guys will have for YouTube. But if you're on Patreon, I post stuff on there all the time. All right. Shout out to the Epic Faster. Thank you for the donation. Sister Liz, thank you for the donation. I appreciate that. So Yeti Hebrew Dre says you need some sleep. Yes, you're right. I do need some sleep. Yes. Yoel Ben Yisrael, shalom. And trust me, once this live is over, I will be getting some rest. All right. But I'm just really excited to share with y'all, you know, a very big accomplishment of mine that I did not see coming, that I was not expecting, that's finally coming to fruition, to open up doors, right? Not just for me, but for the community as well. You know, I put a lot of time, energy, and effort into all the things I've done for our people, because I love our people. I love you guys. So, you know, sometimes I just say, look, let me do it. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully it inspires somebody else to come behind me and do better. And that's the goal, you know, to pioneer and create the path so that when others come behind you, they can take things further. Okay. And the objective is to teach y'all how to be autonomous. Shout out to my brother, Aaron the Presby. Shalom. Haven't seen you on here in a while. Torio, hashtag the Most High. Shalom. My brother James, aka Get Wise. Shalom. Donna T in the building. Shalom. Deborah Newsom. Shalom. Shalom. All right. All right. All right. So let me go ahead and make some of y'all jealous and the rest of y'all excited. All right. So Shema, we could talk Saturday night. I'm not gonna be able to do any talking tonight because I'm done. All right. So Chronicles of the Moon says, I'm thinking about subscribing to your Patreon. I'm just not familiar with what Patreon is. Is it like YouTube? Yeah. So let me go ahead and summarize that for you, my brother. And thank you for expressing your interest. I appreciate that. And after I share this with you, I'm going to actually show the Patreon page to get you a better idea of what it's about and what's on there. So pretty much what Patreon is that, so there were content creators that would come on YouTube and create a whole bunch of content, make video after video after video, right? When YouTube decided to start providing monetization on video, so that way, you used to go through paperwork with YouTube to allow them to run third-party ads on your videos. And in exchange for that, you get a couple of pennies on a dollar, right? And if your video goes viral, right, or if you put a whole bunch of ads in, it's mid-roll ads where people after every like 5-10 minutes is an ad, you know what I'm saying? Then you get a little bit more money, right? Unfortunately, a lot of content creators were not getting paid enough, even though they had all these supporters. So what Patreon, one of many platforms, have done is that they've seen this and said, well, there should be a way where the creators can get paid directly from the people who support their work. So they created a platform that allows supporters to pay the content creators directly. Okay. Patreon takes only 8% out, which is not bad. And also what happens is there are tiers of pledges, right? So you pledge X amount a month, X amount every month. That will go towards the content creator that you support, that you like. And what happens is there's different tiers. There's a $10, like mine is a 10, 20, 50, 60, and 100. There's 5 tiers on mine, right? So with each tier, you get a step up in benefits, other perks and benefits that you get that you don't get access to in the lower tiers, okay? Like, for example, when we do our classes, all right? When we do our classes, Chris Bronson is funny. When we do our classes, that is only accessible at the $20 and up tier. So if you're at the $10 tier, you won't be able to get access to our classes unless you pay for our classes a la carte, which is going to be double that price, which is $40 a month. So it just behooves you, if you're at the $10 tier, to upgrade to the $20 tier, or if you're not on Patreon at all, to get on the Patreon, even if you just want the classes, right? Because with the classes that we'll be teaching, we give you the methodology that we utilize, the tools and the sources, so that way you can discern any passage of the text. All right. Also, we have the biblical Hebrew and biblical Greek courses on the Patreon at the $20 tier. At the $50 tier, we have something like the Bible Lands as Classrooms DVD for viewing at the $50 tier. At the $100 tier, you get access to becoming a stakeholder of the ministry, which means all of our high-level meetings and things that's going on, we inform you of it. We share that content with you for your feedback, so you can help us grow as a ministry by having just as much say as me and everybody else who are the leaders in the ministry. All right, that's like at the $100 tier. And then also at the $100 tier, you are able to get a one-on-one with me if I'm in your city. So if you're a $100 tier and I'm in the city, like our next trip is into Raleigh, Durham. When we go to Raleigh, Durham, anybody that is a $100 tier on the Patreon can request for a one-on-one with me while I'm there, right? You get me for 2-3 hours. We can sit down, and chat and chop it up. You know what I'm saying? So you get those type of access. So with every pledge, you get additional benefits, right? And that's pretty much what Patreon is. It's a way for supporters of content creators to support them financially monthly, so that content creators don't have to worry about any additional expenses when creating the content to provide for the people that support them, right? And I thank the Most High that we're in the top 5, in regards to Israelite patrons, as far as the amount of patrons that we have, top 5, as far as the Israelite community is concerned. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to hit 1,000 by the end of this year. If I hit 1,000 by the end of this year, so many barriers are going to be broken. Like right now, with the amount that we have, patrons been reaching out to me and trying to work with me and do additional stuff. But I told them, nah, just hold off on that. When we hit that, when we crack that 1,000, and you can see that this type of content we pushing out is something serious, then I would like for you to interview me. So that way I can tell you what this content is about and expose it to your mainstream audience. I don't know if they're ready for that yet. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But we'll see. We'll see. But also have behind the scenes videos on there. I have exclusive videos on there, early access. So sometimes some videos before I put it on YouTube, it shows up on Patreon. There's cash giveaways we have on there. There's content and posts that I put on there that's nowhere else on social media. So again, I tell people all the time, you know, if you don't see activity on social media or YouTube, sign up for the Patreon and you can check it out. With Patreon, there's preferred pledges, like we prefer 10, 20, 50, 60, and 100. However, you can pledge as much as $1, right? And we've had people that unfortunately, due to their financial situation, was unable to maintain certain pledges, but they still wanted access. So we let them know, hey, you know, if you want, just stay on for $5, right? Stay on with $1. All right. And in doing so, you can still get access to everything. And if you can't, just email us, you know, whatever we have and we can give to you, then we'll do that. You know, we'll do whatever we can to keep people connected. All right. Thank you, my brother, Jordan's Cadet. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. But objectively, you know, what we are trying to do is to equip you to learn, okay, appropriately. And learning, you know, is not always just sitting with bated breath for your favorite Moray to come on YouTube and just start spewing whatever they're spewing. It's being able for you to ascertain the same conclusions and understandings that they've arrived to by utilizing the tools, the resources, and the methodology, right? And that's what we give you here, right? Give you a way to discern these things, okay? All right, so that's what the Patreon is. Shout out to Stephen, Michael, Key, Shalom King, all right? Yes, so Ramal Yahu, the not Sarim. So let me correct you for one moment. So I have a Hebrew class on there. I think I have 2 Hebrew classes on the Patreon, but the courses I'm talking about, I'm not teaching those, right? Those are taught by professors in academia who are teaching it, and they're teaching it for people who have zero knowledge of language, period. So they get you the building blocks of foundational Hebrew and Greek, and then they bring you to functional Hebrew and Greek, which is equivalent to your first year or 2 semesters of Hebrew and Greek, okay? And it's excellent sources. What I do is I provide coaching. So once you go through the courses and you have questions along the way, or after you complete the courses, you can inbox me on Patreon and I'll be able to coach you through it, right? However, when we do our classes, I'll be touching on Hebrew and Greek, right? The reason why I don't teach Hebrew and Greek directly is because there's so many nuances in culture. It's not limited to just knowing the language, right? So that's why I don't want to just teach just the language. Our approach is holistic. So we take into account several other things, right? As opposed to just the language of the text, right? So that's why I don't teach people. So why don't you teach it? Because I used to teach classes on it. I don't teach classes on it no more. And that's why, you know what I'm saying? I'm taking a different approach with it, okay? Shout out to my brother T. Waters in the building. Shalom, shalom, shalom. Have you done a lecture on the Book of Mormon? And if not, can I have a few seconds on your thoughts? Because my brother's obsessed with this book. He even sent me a sealed copy and told me some about Jared. So, Chris, yes, I did do a video on cults briefly. You can type in DivineProspect and put cults in, and you'll see I touch a little bit on Book of Mormon. Matter of fact, I have the Book of Mormon over here. Let me go grab it real quick. And I think I put a book on the Patreon about cults. All right. But anyway, this is the Book of Mormon right here. It says another testament of Jesus Christ. Let me try to get that clear. There it is. See? Now, what they don't tell you is the real Book of Mormon is Doctrines and Covenants and the Pearl of Great Price. So whoever's giving you the Book of Mormon, also ask them, say, hey, can you get me that Pearl of Great Price and Doctrines and Covenants as well? Yeah. Yeah. It's a nice little funny video. I would play it, but I wonder if they'll flag my video, man. Shout out to Gene in the building. Shalom King. Shout out to my brother Yahweh Stop, son of light, shalom. There's an actual funny cartoon on Mormonism. Matter of fact, I'll bring it up so y'all can see it. I'll bring it up. Hold on. I'll bring it up. It's hilarious. Let me show it to y'all. Hold on. This is hilarious, man. I'm gonna show you Satan in here. Hold on. Let me pull it up. This is funny. All right, this is the video right here. All right, it's called Banned Mormon Cartoon. You can either look at the regular version or the extended version. Right, it's called Banned Mormon Cartoon, and this is supposed to be Lucifer. Okay, him and Jesus were brothers before they came to Earth. All right. All right, yeah, and they got the holy underwear or the holy garments. It's set up just like a Masonic temple, man. They have the Aaronic priesthood that they said is restored, and they also have the Melchizedek priesthood, right? In Mormonism, Mormonism also taught that the natives here were lost tribes of Israel, and that Jesus appeared to them and he brought the gospel to them in another form, and all of this was preserved by a particular angel Moroni, and that it was contained in gold tablets that was discovered by the founder of Mormonism. And let me bring him up, Joseph Smith. And Joseph Smith was a soothsayer. Before he converted, he was a soothsayer. He was a fortune teller, etc. But nevertheless, he was guided to these metal tablets that contain the Book of Mormon. And from those tablets, he supposedly translated it into the English Book of Mormon that we have today, right? It's a lot of interesting quirks with the Book of Mormon. And again, Moroni is the one that actually revealed this. That's why when you go to see any of the temples, you see this angel figure on there blowing a trumpet. That's the angel Moroni, all right? Or Moroni. You also see oh, can you hear me? Man, how long was there no sound? What just happened? Can you hear me now? All right. Yeah, I don't know. Did I must have hit it. I don't remember that. I don't know how much I missed. Can somebody tell me the last thing that I said? The last thing that y'all heard? What was the last thing y'all heard? Shout out to BWO, that dude 2026. Shalom, my brother. Yahusef Ben Yisrael. Shalom. Sister Nina Bina. Shalom. Let's see. Yeah, my bad. Oh, so the angel with the trumpet. So the angel with the trumpet is the angel Moroni, right? What I was saying was Joseph Smith was a soothsayer, fortune teller before he converted. The angel Moroni had revealed to him where the golden tablets was at, and he translated that into the English Book of Mormon that we have today. I was saying that Mormons, you'll see them in your neighborhood with the white shirts on, short sleeves, white shirts. They'll have black ties, black slacks. They'll have a name tag, and they go 2 by 2, and they just bring the message of the Book of Mormon to people, and they share this book, but they never give you the Pearl of Great Price or Doctrines and Covenants, because when you read that, that's the real doctrine and dogma of Mormonism, not this. See, Israelites will eat this up because, oh yeah, the lost tribes in America, so this really must be legit. But do you know the history behind how this came to be? Do you believe that Joseph Smith was divinely inspired to put this together? Is that what you're telling me? Is that what I even had? I guess I'll share it with y'all too. A chart that shows you the contradictions between the Book of Mormon and the text. And it's interesting because some of these contradictions is based on the fact that Joseph Smith could not read Hebrew or Greek. Go figure. You know what I'm saying? But yet it's divinely inspired. No, it's not. And yes, the Mormons were racist because they taught that black people at one point, they taught that black people were the rebellious angels in heaven that rebelled with Satan, because Satan was not selected to be the savior of mankind or the son of God, but Jesus was. So Satan, you know, because of his rebellion in heaven, him and the angels that rebelled with him were sent to earth, and to be identified with who's who is that Satan and his angels are identified with dark skin, right? That was an old teaching that Mormonism taught. But I think in the 70s or whatever, they changed that doctrine, and now it opened up for everybody. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of crazy. Yeah. So Mormons are the Church of Latter-day Saints. Mormons and the Church of Latter-day Saints are the same thing. All right. Shout out to Gavin Millen and Building Shalom. All right. So the Church of Latter-day Saints and Mormonism is the same thing. If you have somebody from our community giving you that book, send them over here. I got a lot of questions I need to ask them. But anyway, I don't want to play the video because if I play it, they might demonetize the video or just make my video private. I don't want to do that. But that's the video right there. Go back and watch it. It's called Banned Mormon Cartoon. Trust me, you will enjoy it. It's like something that comes straight out the movie, man. No, Jonathan, there's still camps that do subscribe to that. Matter of fact, I think a couple months ago, I had somebody from a camp bring that out. And I'm like, what? It's crazy, man. Crazy. Really crazy. But I guess one day I'll do it. Shout out to Elder D. Glenn Royal in the building. Shalom. He said, watching Voltron tonight. What? Oh, man. Okay. So yeah, let me bring up the Patreon real quick. Let me show you some stuff we have on there. Again, we have tons of content on there. Again, I want you guys to learn the language, the culture, the material culture, sister cultures, everything that you need to know, so that way you can better interpret the scriptures and have fun reading it. Understand what the importance behind name places, migration routes, etc. Right? So the elder on here, D. Glenn, subscribe to his channel. He teaches the Hebrew on there, and I really, really appreciate the work that he's put in for the community as well. All right. So Stephen Michael Key, people also push the gospel of peace, and that's supposed to be the Ebionite doctrine, all right, or the Essene doctrine. Now, there's actually a brother I was supposed to have a conversation with that held to that position. There's actually a video. You can actually watch me talk on that. And he never showed up, man, because after I had a phone call with him, like before, I think it was like a day or two before, he tapped out and said, oh, the elders told me I can't have the dialogue with you. What? The elders told you that? So why'd you jump out the window and say, yeah, I'm going to take the discussion, and then the elders told you to fall back? Stop it, man. They probably saw DivineProspect. No. We're not about to get exposed like that. Leave that guy alone. But yeah, anybody that you know that subscribes to the Book of Mormon or the Gospel of Peace or the Gospel of the Essenes, please send them here. I would love to have a conversation with them. There's so many questions I want to ask. I think it's extremely important because, yes, those things being perpetuated through our community, and it needs to stop. Seriously. All right. Chris, which book you referring to? Which book? Oh, Jay in the building. Yes. Thank you for shouting out, Jay. I think you text me, but I don't know. I have so many text messages. Things get buried in my text messages. So if I missed you, my brother, I apologize for that. But what I'll do is I'll go ahead and show your book. And if anybody's interested, I will be having the brother on the show soon so he can do an interview. And shout out to my cousin, Nell, in the building. Shalom, shalom, cuz. I didn't even know you was here watching. Shout out to Adaya Yisrael. Shalom, shalom. S. McGee, what's going on? Do you believe Yeshua's halakha reflected what we see in the Mishnah, community rule, Damascus doctrine, or Menonah? Now, I wouldn't say Omenana because that is a development from the exiled northern tribes that made their way into West Africa. So what he did wouldn't reflect that. However, elements of the Mishnah as well as the community rule and Damascus document, yes, you'll see that in the teachings of Yeshua. You will see that. Matter of fact, I shared a couple of books on that too. That if you read it, it kind of opens it up. Matter of fact, let me show you those books. So S. McGee, the short answer is yes. But if you're really interested in the in-depth answer, let me give you the sources, all right? And let me grab the book so I don't forget it. So after I provide S. McGee with the sources, I can show you the brother's book, which is a phenomenal book. Hold on one second, y'all. Moriah, you said there's a congregation in North Arizona that subscribes to the Book of Mormon. Interesting. Please reach out to them and tell them that we would like to speak with them. We would definitely like to speak with them, give them an opportunity to convert us live on air. If they want, and maybe we'll subscribe to the Book of Mormon when they're done. I don't know. We'll see. All right, so let me go ahead and show this book real quick. I'm gonna give you these sources. Again, all of these things on the Patreon. If you don't have the Patreon, we'll be lenient, and if you can request it via email. But let me show you these books, Sean, to give you some background on that. All right. Give me 1 second. Let me pull it up. All right. And again, Sunday is my award/degree ceremony. So, I think I gotta prepare a speech or something, but I'm probably just gonna freestyle it. But I'll show it to y'all. You'll be able to see it on the Patreon. I'm gonna keep it on the low until all the paperwork is completed and my dissertation is published, and then I'll come out on YouTube and show everybody publicly everything. But for the Patreon, you'll get to see insight behind the scenes, what's going on. We're not playing games, man. After this, I am obligated to publish a whole bunch of books. So a lot of books are coming down the pike. I'm looking for additional academic writers. I know 2 or 3 already academic writers, but I need more to help me because I just don't have the time. I just want to orate stuff and have them put it in Word format and get these books out, right? But I have tons of books that need to be written. I already have some. One is I'm going to do after I produce the documentary where I go overseas and follow the migration route that we propose the Israelites migrated to, right? From Northeast Africa, which includes Israel, all the way in the sub-Saharan African migration routes to the areas of West Africa where the slaves were picked up, right? So we're going to record a documentary because I'm going to Ghana, Nigeria, Egypt, Israel, possibly Chad, and some other places. It's going to be a very expensive trip, but I believe that once the documentary is out, the objective is to prove or disprove the claim that we make, right? It's an assertion unless you can substantiate it. And the best way to substantiate it is doing the ground research, primary research, which I want to attempt. And after that's done, I'm going to write a book on that. And once that's laid out, there's not going to be no doubt about that anymore. You just share the documentary and the book with people that you know, and that's it. It's a done deal, right? But I'm challenging myself to see whether or not it's true or false. And that's the most important thing. And that's where you start from in regards to your methodology. You start with a problem question and work your way to your thesis or conclusion, right? And that's important, right? So I already have that book. I'm going to write one on culture. And it's going to be based from my dissertation. So my dissertation is about 100 pages. So I'm going to add an extra 100 pages. It's going to be a 200-page book that we're going to write in regards to the importance of culture and the proper midrash or exegesis of the scriptures, which is extremely important. So when you read the dissertation, when it's made public, you'll get an insight, an idea about what the future book is going to be about. And then we're going to write a book in regards to the reckoning of time, right, from the Iron Age until now. And how things shifted and changed. There's actually some sources that I have on it that I'll be citing. Every book that I write, every article that I write has citations in it. Even my dissertation has about 50 citations of 50 different books that I've read that I've cited in my citation, right? My bibliography. So yes, it's no joke. This dissertation, man, is no joke. All right. But let me go ahead and share this for you, Sean, so you can see it. Let me bring up the book real quick. All right, so the first one, this is going to deal with midrash and the Mishnah in regards to the way of interpretation that is done by rabbinic Judaism. That's what's called midrash, and Mishnah, which are the rulings of the Sanhedrin based on different court cases that came to them that they ruled on. And they ruled on these things based on utilizing the oral tradition to help to interpret these cases that they've been judging over, so they can preserve the oral tradition. That's mostly what your Mishnah is. So I think the best book would be this one right here for you, Sean. And I've shared this before. All right, check this out. And it's for anybody else that probably didn't see the book. But it's here, and this is one of the benefits of signing up for the Patreon. All right, this one is called The Halakha of Jesus of Nazareth according to the Gospel of Matthew by Philip Siegel. All right, Studies in Biblical Literature. Excellent resource if you want to look at the Halakha of Yeshua and juxtaposition to the Mishnah of his day, even though the Mishnah technically did not exist in written form, oral form it existed, right? So you want to look into that book. And then there's another book that I recommend in regards to the Dead Sea Scrolls. Let me pull that up. All right, so this one here. All right, this one is called The Dead Sea Scrolls and Christian Origins. All right. And thank you, cousin. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's my cousin right there. Shout out to my cousin, man. So Zev said that the sect of Nazarenes eat meat. At a certain point, they stopped eating meat because it was in contradiction with Jordan is funny. It's in contradiction with their doctrine, based on the fact that they took on some of the Essenes teachings and the teachings from the Qumran community, the Yahad community, that most of the meats that were out there were sacrificed unto idols before it was butchered and put into the meat markets. So they decided to avoid being contaminated and unclean altogether, that they would adopt a vegan diet and then use that understanding to reinterpret the text to kind of justify it. So they're really superimpose that position onto the text when the text itself does not support that. And the material culture doesn't support that, because we have evidence of Israelites eating meat from the whole Iron Age period. At every Israelite site, meat was eaten. However, they did not eat meat like we do today. They ate meat a couple of times a month. Some of us eat meat every day. They didn't eat meat every day. They drank milk, goat's milk, more particularly goat's milk. If they had cattle, they would drink cow's milk, but it's very rare. They would mostly drink goat's milk, all right? They would drink water, all right? They would eat things such as bread. A lot of things were made out of bread. Bread is like your sustenance, right? It is like the central foundation of life is water and bread. You know what I'm saying? So bread, but they also were opportunistic eaters. So, they also ate things that they found, such as olives. And this is what's called the med diet. And those of you who are African Americans, quote unquote, I did a whole lecture on the med diet, man. Well, it wasn't on the med diet, but it was really looking at the practicality of Leviticus chapter 11 and getting you to create a template of that to identify what is good for you, what is not good for you, and why our eating habits and diet should be in harmony and alignment with our small carbon footprint within the ecological environment in which we live. What do you mean by that, Divine? So what I'm saying is, if there are certain animals that's in your environment, I give you an example. Let's say certain vermin, right? If we see certain rats have a role to play in the food chain, right? And they eat certain animals, all right, certain insects and creepy things. And then you have the apex predators in the form of your owls and your hawks and your eagles that then eat the vermin. Well, if you start eating these eagles and these owls, then what's going to happen is that you're going to have a huge outburst of proliferation of vermin. Okay. And then they can spread disease and then they can infest your houses. So there was certain restrictions on certain animals you did not eat. So that way you can stay within the ecological boundaries of how that particular environment is supposed to thrive. Unfortunately, today, because so much construction, houses being made, we are moving certain animals out of their natural environment, and now animals are coming into our environment, and now there's so much tussle and fighting back and forth. Matter of fact, some of you might have seen that video is going viral of that 17-year-old girl that pushed the bear off the ledge of her backyard, right? When all the bear was doing was the bear, again, that was their natural environment. But when those houses were built, it pushed the bears out of their natural environment. What happens is animals have an instinct to go back to things that are natural to them, right? So they have this homing beacon to go back to that location, and now it's not suitable for them to live, okay? And again, this is entrenched or epigenetically entrenched into the animal over time, right? And that bear that she pushed was a mother bear that had her cubs. So what she was doing was, trying to stop the dogs from scaring or even attacking her bear. So most people was excited for the girl pushing the bear. What I saw there are humans that are out of alignment with their ecological environment. And because they are being industrial, we're so industrialized and expansive and, all these things, we have pushed nature out of their natural boundaries. This is why I teach a lot about permaculture, which is how to live back into harmony with your environment and how to keep your carbon footprint small. That means the amount of impact that you leave on that environment that can shift or change it in a negative way, you minimize it. All right. And I'm not just talking about dropping litter or whatever the case may be, or littering here, littering there. It's deeper than that. Okay. So that's extremely important to understand. Thank you, my brother Ice Cole. He posted it up there. Click the link in the chat, save the video, and go check it out for your Sabbath message on this Saturday. Okay, you will definitely enjoy that. And again, I took a lot of time to do that, and that was one of my favorite lectures to do. But again, the med diet. All right. So the med diet also consisted of various beans, such as lentil beans, right? That porridges was made out of as well, and that's pretty much what we see with Esau and Jacob. There was also pomegranates that was eaten. There were pistachios that was eaten, almonds that was eaten, etc. So all of these things consist of the med diet. As far as meat is concerned, meat was very expensive. And the reason why is because a lot of pastoralists was not eating meat like that, because these animals were your livelihood. And if you eat them every day, you're not going to have any animals left. You know what I'm saying? So that's not what they did. All right. They did not just eat a whole bunch of animals, but they did eat some protein substitutes. Right. As an agriculturalist, your livelihood is on the harvest. Right. And then you use that harvest to trade for animal goods. But again, the only people that really ate meat that often were royalty. Right. Or the elites, people who did not have to work for food. Because what you got to understand is that in the ancient times, every day people worked to produce food. It was a job just to eat food. Prepare food was a whole job. Okay. Matter of fact, even at the grinding mill, when you ground wheat into flour, can take 2 to 3 hours a day to do. That's crazy. But okay. All right. You're funny. LAE, yes, it has been. Yes, it has. It has. All right. All right. So Let me give you the second book real quick. Hold on 1 second. Let me throw up the second book for you. All right. And this one is called Eschatology, Messianism, and the Dead Sea Scrolls. So S. McGee, your answers are in those books there. You can search those books on the Patreon or email me and I can send them to you. Okay. All right. So Adaya Yisrael says, was hunting an Israelite custom? Yes and no. So it wasn't the staple of their trades, but it happened in times of famine that they would do unconventional hunting that they typically wouldn't do. Now, if you considered fishing hunting, they did fish, right? So fishing is a form of hunting. So technically that would be part of their trade as well. But if you're talking about hunting like big game and stuff like what the natives did in the Americas, etc., like hunting the buffalo and stuff like that, no, they didn't do that type of big game hunting like that. All right. And that's all based on the types of animals that was in their environment. And again, their objective was to stay in harmony with the environment, right? Based on the divine decree to do so. All right. All right. So also this Sunday is a Feast of Weeks or Shavuot for those of you who keep the KHM, what we call ancient pre-exilic Israelite Sacerdotal-Menological model, or the pre-exilic calendar for short, right? And according to this calendar, this upcoming Sunday will be Shavuot, which means you do not work. No work should be done. Now, some of you already did your Shavuot last week, 2 weeks ago, some even 3 weeks ago. All right. So all praise to the Most High for those who are attempting to keep the statute, laws, and commandments by way of maintaining the feast days. All right. I salute you for your attempt to do so. Okay. And again, we're all not going to get everything right. And we're all not going to be on the same page, because that is the Most High's job to sort those things out when he places us in the land. When we get back in the land, when we're regathered and placed back in the land, we will all be keeping the same ordinances and statutes, right? Because it will be written on our heart and it will be part of our nature. And we would automatically know what to do. We won't have to beef, argue, or debate over it. It would be natural, all right? So that's important, all right? So main man, as far as the preparation of food on the Sabbath, no, fire was not kindled. And I had spoken about this before in a previous live stream. I said the reason why fire was not kindled, because fire was a job. It was a work that you had to do. All right. It's not like today you can just go to the stove and turn the knob and fire comes up. But some of y'all, electric knob, press a button, it comes right on. They had to do a lot of work. So it was considered or labeled as work, like, you know, fetching stones, catching stones, and then taking those stones and rubbing the stones together, creating a fire. And then once you create the fire, then you got to get the fire to billow and go up and maintain the fire. It's a lot of work. And then you had to lay additional sticks on top of it, or a makeshift stove, and then you had to cook. It was a whole job. So it was considered work. Today, you don't have to do that to heat up food. If you use electricity, technically electricity is not fire, because electricity can be used for many things that fire cannot be used for, and vice versa, right? So it's not considered fire per se. It can produce heat, but it's not considered fire. So you can technically use that to make, but the principle is, if your cooking takes up or absorbs a great majority of your time on the Sabbath, then I would restrict that, right? And just make your meals the night before, or like was mentioned earlier, you guys can also, okay, Seth, I got you, King. You can also use a slow cooker and put that on. And when the next day comes, you can stop your slow cooking and eat your food. All right. All right. Yeah. So Yeti Hebrew Dreg, great question. And that's where halakha comes in. All right. That would be up to people to judge for themselves. But let's say that we were all in the wilderness state or all living off the grid, we would not be kindling a fire on the Sabbath, because we know how much work that would take. All right. But now that since we're not in that environment, it's like no effort at all to press a button. Pressing a button takes less than a second, right? To heat up food. You just press the button, let it cook. You don't even have to bother with it and come back and get it. You don't have to do the work. But then some people go all out and think they're culinary chefs, and they already are chefing in the kitchen and everything like that on the Sabbath, where that is too much work, energy, and effort being done. So how many joules of work, of energy? Because when we talk about energy, we talk about joules of energy, right? That you have to produce as far as the caloric breakdown or the calories that's in your system in order to perform that work. What is that mathematical equation? You have to decide for that yourself, right? That's between you and the Most High. All right. My thing is, me and my family try to avoid cooking on the Sabbath if we can. If we have to, then we just heat something up. There's no chefing it up on the Sabbath. We just don't do that. All right. We throw a few things together, press a button. It's done because I have an electric stove. Everything's electric. We stay away from microwaves at all costs. But I do have an electric stove, right? There's no fire producer myself. It's all electric, right? So there's no effort to do it. But if we can prepare something the night before for Saturday, that is the best rule of thumb, all right? Okay. Shout out to my brother Azaziah Ban Yahawada. Shalom, all right? Thank you for that, my brother Dale. All praise to the Most High. I do what I can. I'm here to serve. If I can help y'all, that's what I'm here to do, right? No problem. So yes, ICU Cole, you're right. Some Hasidics don't drive, don't travel or commute on the Sabbath because it can be a chore or a duty. So the key thing is, if you're driving on the Sabbath, why are you driving on the Sabbath, right? Just ask yourself that question. The question is this something that I have to do? If I don't have to do it, why am I doing it? Why not take that time and focus on Yah, right? Now, some people have to drive to get to their congregations on the Sabbath, and that's different. Right. But if you're driving for leisure purposes, driving to go to the store and buy something, driving, I don't know, maybe to go to a park, that's OK. Drive to the park. You're there, spend time with your family. You're in an open environment. That's probably like the best place to spend time with Yah. Right. In your house, in the outdoors, so that you can just admire the Creator's work. Right. While you are devoting that time to him. But you must ask yourself that question. Why am I driving? Is it a necessity? Do I have to do it? Can it wait? And if it can wait, then let it wait. If it cannot wait, it's a necessity, and it's something of high priority, then you have to do what you have to do. And then Yah will deal with you. But if you can at all costs avoid working, you must do that for the Sabbath. If you can avoid buying and selling, you must do that for the Sabbath. Some people can't for whatever reasons. And I'm not going to tell them stop doing that. Because if somebody tells you stop doing that, and they already know they don't want to do it, ask them, hey, you going to give me a job? Are you going to employ me? Or you're not going to employ me? You just going to stick your finger out there and judge me? Okay, thank you. I just want to see, where this ends, where this is going to go. Keep that in mind. If they're not going to help you and they only want to judge you, then you don't have to take what they're saying seriously and keep it moving. All right. If you have to work on the Sabbath, you have to do what you have to do. You have to make an effort to let your employer know, hey, this is my religious observance or my cultural observance. This is what I do on this day. And I'm putting it on notice, writing a letter, submitting it on notice that this is what I requested. Now, if it cannot be granted to me, that's fine, right? You don't beef, you don't argue. You go to the Most High because now you did your part. You let the Most High know, look, Most High, I want to honor this day for you. They did not honor it for me. So I'm praying that you create the opportunity so that way I can keep this day unto you and let the Most High work. That's it. All right. In the interim, you have to do what you have to do to feed your family. And I'm not going to tell nobody to stop doing their livelihood to feed their family. OK, so, again, it's all in how you are able to manage and handle that. If you can avoid certain things, just avoid it completely. If you have to do it, you have to do it. And if you need that opportunity to open that day up for you, then you must make the effort to do so and let Yah do the rest. All right. Yes. Facts, my brother Seth. Facts. Jordan, I don't know what you're talking about. Yo, Jordan's comic relief is something else, man. So my brother Malchaya Uriel says, do you Shabbat from evening to evening? So the seventh day of the week is called the Shabbat, but the Shabbaton, remember the on is the diminutive, which means it's a smaller version of what the root word is. In this case, it's Shabbat, is from sunrise to sunset. That is when you cease from your labors. The evening before the day portion where there's light, that you're ceasing from your labors, you can boil what you want to boil, bake what you want to bake, seethe what you want to seethe up into the morning or the day break. So you have Boker and then you have Erev. Boker and Erev. So Boker is when dark is transitioning to day. And when you have your Erev, that's when day is transitioning to darkness. All right. During those periods of time, you have 3 stages of twilight. Okay. Depending upon if you're going from light to light to darkness or darkness to light, you have what's called the astronomical twilight, the nautical twilight, and the astronomical, nautical, and civic twilight. All right. So what does this mean? Civic twilight, you can still work, because it's getting dark, but it's enough light so you can see in front of you. Nautical twilight means it's much darker. You can't really do no work because you can't really see much. However, the stars are at their brightest and you can see where the stars is at, and it's called nautical because sailors would take this time of twilight in order to chart and see where the stars are at to know which direction to go. All right. And then you have astronomical twilight, where it's extremely dark. You can't really see anything. However, it's not completely pitch black. And then after astronomical twilight, then you have pitch black darkness. Okay. And I broke all these things out on my lecture that I did on the calendar system. Okay. So again, the seventh day is the Shabbat. It's called the Shabbat, but the Shabbaton, the day of the period of rest on that seventh day called the Shabbat, is from sunrise to sunset. How do we know that? Because the first place in which the Sabbath was instituted was in Shemot chapter 16. And that had to do, and it goes, Exodus chapter 16, verse 4. Moses says he's going to do this thing to test the people and to see if they'll keep his Sabbath. He told Moses, the people, I'm going to give the people, bread, and I'm going to give them meat. They get the bread during the day, they get the meat at night. He says, I want them to collect X amount of bread or manna on the sixth day, double the amount. So that way on the seventh day, they have enough to eat. Okay. At first try, they disobeyed. Second try, they got it right. Right. But he was only referring to the manna, not the quail. The quail is what came at night. And again, if you study the migration patterns of the quail, you understand where the Israelites were at, where they were getting all this quail. And it's not the conventional one or traditional one that they're teaching you, in the secular realm. All right. Again, this is why material culture and looking at what we called, man, I just forgot it. Looking at the fauna, and the fauna is the animal stuff that was left behind, whether it's fossils or, feces that may have been preserved or whatever the case may be. And the flora has to do with the imprint of plants that were left behind in the archaeological record. But when you study that, you get to see the areas in which these birds migrated, right? And you'll be able to know the route they took because they were always in areas where they were able to receive these quails at night. All right. So that's important. All right. So Yeti, Hebrew Dre, no, I have not mastered it, but I have tried it and I'm pretty decent at it. All right. But no, I haven't mastered it yet, but I'm pretty decent at it. That's something, one of my things on my bucket list to do, to be able to navigate using only the stars and the moon. The moon is also used for navigation as well. All right. All right. Let's see. So do it for the nation. Excellent question. Yes, I do. But I don't have a comprehensive cross-cultural analysis on that. Again, this is one of the papers I start writing, which I think is extremely important. But you have to look at the pre-Israelite cultural customs. You can't look at anything that's considered Judeo-Christianity because it looks foreign. That's foreign. That's not pre-Israelite cultural customs. Because after pre-Israel was exiled, that culture was exiled. They went into Babylon for 70 years in the south. The north went away into the east and west. Okay. And they was dispersed and not a lot of them came back. There were some of the poor and the lower middle class that stayed in the land. And we know that because when Josiah was trying to do a universal Passover, he sent messengers towards the north to get his brethren from the northern tribes to come to the south and have this collective Passover. By the way, the Passover initially was something that was not universal. It was something that was initially kept in the homes, okay, and then eventually became a national thing, all right, over time when the kings were initiated and instituted, okay. All right. Is the Sabbath Saturday? Mika Williams. Excellent question. So the way to answer that is methodology, right? I'll give you an example. I'm trying to figure out the best way to answer that. So the days of the week and how the week is established. So just because a week has Greco-Roman names does not mean that that was the source of the time reckoning, okay, that's established. And we know that because when Alexander the Great conquered Babylon, he encountered the Chaldean priests there, and he adopted their reckoning of time system in order to establish or attempt to establish a national calendar. Because prior to that, the Greeks had several calendars. You had the Athenian calendar, the Macedonian calendar, et cetera, right? So what happened was they took the names of certain deities and superimposed it on an already existent 7-day week. Okay. And that's how you then get later on the Romans come on the scene and you get the Julian calendar, right? And then way later on, Pope Gregory instituted the Gregorian calendar that we have today. But that week period, that 7-day period was already in existence. It wasn't shifted or anything like that. Now, the difference is if you are living in this society and you have an abstract calendar, and this is what the Greek and Romans did, they utilize an abstract calendar in order to keep time. Matter of fact, this is how archaeologists are able to synchronize time between cultures based on the records left behind by the Greeks. Okay, and then eventually and then before the Greeks, the Egyptians. Egyptians is a very administrative culture, right? For the upper elites, because only 2% of Egypt can read and write. The other 90% can't, and 98% can't read and write. All right, but there was more people who can read and write in ancient Egypt than it was in a lot of other places in the ancient Near East, right? So nonetheless, what I'm simply trying to say is that if you look at the reckoning of time, you'd have to show where it shifted. Now, if you lived off the grid, and like this is why we push our calendar system, because it can be utilized when you're living off the grid, and all you need is nature in order for you to determine in those 6 key points that you synchronize in nature. Is in a celestial realm, you look at the sun, moon, and stars, sun, moon, stars, those are 3. And then in the terrestrial, you look at the climate, you look at the animals, and you look at the harvest, right? And you can look at these things in any environment because things will change. Even if you're in a tropical environment, the tropical environments still have seasons, but they're subtle, okay? They're still subtle, right? But they're there, okay? And the point I'm trying to make is that you will be able to know what days of the week are the days of the week, even off the grid. And that is how the Israelites lived. They lived off the grid without an abstract calendrical system. All right. They had a system that was based on nature, a lot of it from what we call ancient farmer's almanac. One of them is the Gezer calendar. If you look at the Gezer calendar, or some people call it the Gezer calendar, you get an example of how time was reckoned, and you actually have 12 months within that ancient calendar. All right, that was found in the area in which Israelites were known to have lived. Okay. Main man, yes, I can. Shoot me an email and I'll send it to you. Okay. All right. So you said also how can all Sabbaths and feast days be on Saturday? How you figure all feast days are not on the Sabbath? I didn't say that. I don't know where you got that from. As far as Saturday, that's another conversation altogether. What I'm simply trying to show you is the burden of proof is on anybody that says this is incorrect. Now, and this gets into some other sensitive things that we have to look at objectively and read up on so we can understand. So what I'm simply saying is, as cultures encountered other cultures, okay, one thing that was pretty consistent was the 7-day week. Okay. 7-day weeks can also be established through astronomy, looking at the stars, okay, in order to determine what day of the week it is, okay? But what I'm saying is cultures encountered cultures. Now, some cultures sought to overturn the calendrical system, right? Not the days of the week, but the calendrical system, where now they're shifting a focus from, let's say that you use certain things like, I'll give you an example. So let's say we use and I give you an example, great example. During the time of the Grecian rule of the Israelites, right? Before the Hasmonean dynasty was established by way of the Maccabean revolt, you had a situation where the Greeks put emphasis on the moon and de-emphasized the sun. So their calendar was based on a moon or lunar cycle, which they adopted from the Chaldean priests when Alexander the Great had conquered Babylon. Okay. and they established that as a reckoning of time. Now, when the Israelites were able to throw their yoke of oppression off their neck and be an autonomous entity for almost 100 years, a lot of people don't even realize that, all right, they put the emphasis back on the sun and de-emphasize the moon to try and write things back in order. This is why you see that being reflected in books such as Jubilees and Enoch, etc. Okay, so that's what they did. They did not essentially change the days of the week, but they changed the calendrical model, which then shifted the feast days and other days away from what was originally intended by Yah. So when cultures encounter other cultures, we have to look at any kind of writings that show those interactions and say, hey, they changed the 7-day week. That's pretty consistent. All right. Then Rome went to a solar calendar. Correct. They did. All right. All right. So I'm going to shift from that. Do you have a link for a video on hell? So Yeti Hebrew Dre, I speak about that in one of my lectures, actually. So one of my admins can probably drop it in the link for you. Also on the Patreon, I actually have content that addresses hell. Excellent content that addresses hell. Right. Matter of fact, let me show y'all some of the Patreon real quick. All right. All right. So we have a lot of content. We have almost 400 pieces of content on the Patreon. Over 400. That's a lot. Now, this book right here, excellent book. It's called Feasting in the Archaeology and Text of the Bible and the Ancient Near East. Excellent. If you want to really learn about the feast days and the importance of a feast, you have to read this book. All right. And we have it on the Patreon. All right. Another book is called The Exodus from Egypt, Archaeological Data and Expectation. An excellent book that takes an objective look at the Exodus. Okay. And validating it. Excellent source. Another book that I highly recommend called the Bible Atlas Access Foundation. Now, let me show you this book. Like I said, the Patreon, man, is serious, man. The stuff we got on the Patreon is no joke. All right. But let me show it to you. I want to show it to y'all. Let me show it to y'all. All right. Check it out. Check out this source. All right. Bible Atlas Access Foundation by Zane Ritlin, PhD, right? So he says almost every reader of the Bible will realize that the scriptures from Genesis to Revelation contain extensive. Hold on, let me zoom in because it's probably small, right? I know it's probably small. It's probably small. There you go. Right. Almost every reader of the Bible will realize that the scriptures from Genesis to Revelation contain extensive historical materials and innumerable allusions to the geographical background of that history. The geographical references range eastward to the Tigris and Euphrates and beyond the Midian, Elam, and Parthia, from which came some of those present at Pentecost, and even to India, including Asia Minor, Egypt, Ethiopia, and Arabia. They reach westward beyond Greece and Rome as far as Spain, which Paul visited or hoped to visit, and where we are probably to find Tarshish, towards which Jonah started his faithful voyage. Between these limits, the Holy Land itself, under its various names, Canaan, the land of Israel, Palestine, with its immediate neighbors, is at the center of the picture throughout. It is not surprising, therefore, that an atlas should be of great help to every reader of the Bible, and particularly every student, but it must be a historical atlas, not only showing by maps at the most convenient scales the physical geography of the area concerned and the particular parts of it, but also by successive maps of the same area showing the historical changes which came about through the rise and fall of empires, the changes in the geographical names, the appearance of new cities and villages, and the disappearance of others in similar historical developments. Moreover, it cannot be based on the Bible alone, but must make full use of modern archaeological knowledge, which both illuminates and supplements the Bible text. Thus, there is mention in the Bible of Ur in Babylon and Mesopotamia, Hazor, Megiddo, Beth Shan in northern Palestine, Lachish, Debir in Judah, and many other places which little, perhaps not even their exact locations would be known were it not for archaeological data. Further, there are places very important historically which do not happen to be mentioned in the Bible, but which must be shown on the maps of the region and taken into account by the student as part of the total historical and geographical background. Thus, there would be found in this atlas such places as Mari on the Euphrates, Akataton or Tel Almarna in Egypt, Ugarit in Syria, Hattusa in Asia Minor, Serbi El Qadim in the Sinai, which are unfamiliar to most Bible readers, but are nonetheless important. There are two names of whole people, such as the Hurrians and Mitanni, the Sumerians in Tigris-Euphrates Valley, or the Hittites, with their capital in Hattusa, which can be placed on the map as a result of archaeological evidence. Few and obscure allusions to the Hittites in the Bible would give very little idea of their real importance. Such peoples as the Hittites are on the fringe of the Bible story, but in a Bible atlas, they must be shown as part of the total background. Nevertheless, in all the maps of this atlas, the Bible is central, and their purpose is to throw light on it and relate to its historical and geographical setting. When I tell you, if you don't understand the culture within its historical context and the language associated with it and the material items that the culture you left behind in conjunction with interpreting the text, you will be clueless about reading that. You might as well put it down. You're wasting your time, right? You're wasting your time. All right. So let me show you some stuff in this book. All right. Tamika Williams says, thank you. No problem. All right. Check it out. All right. No, I didn't go to hell yet. But that's on my list when I go to Israel. When I go to Israel, I'm gonna go to hell. And I'm gonna take some selfies there. When I'm there, I'm gonna probably have a picnic there as well. And probably talk to a couple of people while I'm there. And then I'm gonna come from out of hell and kind of report back. I'm gonna do a little documentary on hell for y'all. All right. So I'm gonna go to hell and back. Literally, I'm gonna go to hell and back. All right. So no, I didn't go there yet, but I will be there soon. All right. Super Bruise is like, what? Christian is like, what? Oh, man. My brother Jay, I didn't forget your book. I'm going to show it in a second as soon as I finish this. All right. All right. So let me show you why books and sources like this is important. So when we do our classes, whenever we come across a place name, we're going to look it up in an atlas. And we're going to see where that place is at. Because if you don't know where that place is at, then you're going to miss the importance of why the author mentioned it in the text and why it has that name. All right. Just call me text. Yes, it is. It's a literal valley in Israel, and I will be there. All right. So anyway, and I got to demystify these things. People are saying, oh, hell is this, and it's demons sticking you with pitchforks. By the way, that is nowhere in the text at all. There's nothing that says demons stick you with pitchforks in the text. That comes from medieval culture. Okay. And then later on during the age of reasoning, when they start to readopt Greco-Roman ideas and concepts of the afterlife and fuse it into new age thinking. Okay. That's not in the text. There's no devils with pitchforks sticking you. All right. Matter of fact, the text never tells you there's no grotesque looking creatures in hell. Give me a verse. Give me a scripture that says that demons are going to be sticking you with pitchforks and that they're grotesque looking creatures. Can somebody give that to me? Huh? What was that? Oh, so you tell me the preacher's been telling me this for years, and now all of a sudden it's not in the Bible that they're preaching from or attempt to preach from, because a lot of times they didn't even preach the entire text. But no, that's not there. It's not there. All right. King David, the Lucid Fire, I wholly disagree with you on that. I wholly disagree with you on that. And if you ever want to have a discussion on that, my brother, I've been trying to get you on here for the longest to have a dialogue. Let me know. There is an afterlife, and it's attested in almost every ancient culture. There is an afterlife. So to say that there isn't one, you got to deal with that. But the question is, what does an afterlife look like? What is it? Right? And how did this thought develop over the centuries via many different cultures? All right. You know of life elsewhere? Yeah, I know there's life at the bottom of the sea. I've never been there, but in Marietta Trench, there's life down there. And I never thought there would be life down there, but there's life down there. As far as the afterlife, yeah, there's okay. So, all right. Now this is a totally different conversation, but you know what? Let me reserve that and let me go back to reading this. Okay, I don't want to get sidetracked. All right. So let me show you why sources like this is good, because like I said, when we do our classes, there's not going to be no skipping over a geographical location. We're going to look at the topography of that location, the geography of that location. We're going to look at the natural features of that location. Is there a spring there? Are there ridges there? Is it near a mountain? Is it in the valley? Is it by a river? Is it on the coastal plains? What's the elevation level on there? What's the climate in that region? What animals are there? What plants are there? We're going to look at all of these things when we do our classes. There's not going to be no stone left unturned. Anytime there's a place name, we have to examine as much data as we can about that particular region. You understand? And that way, when you go back to read the text, it'll be embedded in your mind, edged in your mind. Oh, they went to Bethel. Okay, I know everything about Bethel. Why? Because we give you atlas. That's a start for you to kind of, get the longitude and latitude of where that location is at, and then show you the environment. Okay, because this would have been familiar with the recipient audience in which the author was writing to. We are not the direct recipient audience. Okay, so check it. Let me show you this book. Hold on. Let me show you this book. All right, I got to zoom out a little bit. All right, let's go down some, and I'm going to show you. So you see, here's an example, right? Let me zoom in. All right, here's an example, right? This is where Syria was at. So you remember Nineveh, depends on how you say it. But remember Nineveh, where Jonah was supposed to go? This is where it says that he got on a ship to go towards Tarshish. He was supposed to go right here at Nineveh. Matter of fact, let me zoom in some more. It's probably really small. There we go. Right? Here it is right here. Okay? Hopefully y'all can see that. All right? So now, when you see the different colors that are there on the screen, some of them represent high elevation points. Some of them represent low elevation points. So the places that are like a tan are the low elevation points. The places that are gray are high elevation points. And then you see the Tigris, Euphrates, and then the offshoot rivers from there, which are important because a lot of migration routes were based on where the river was at, because water is a necessity of life. And if it was off of the river, it was in locations and where there were oases that had natural springs there and palms and other kinds of flora that grew in that region. This is important. Important. Shout out to Bernie Sat in the building. Shalom. All right. So, okay. So my brother, repent and prepare. Excellent point, but I think you're missing something. Okay. So bring up that scripture and let's analyze it. All right. Bring that scripture up and let's analyze it. Okay. All right. So again, this is why I said it's a KHM holistic research paradigm for Bible studies. When you do a Bible study, you need this paradigm, because without the paradigm, it's just going to be you interpreting what you think something is in the text. It doesn't work that way. When we have the data to substantiate the things the text is saying, and or see if the text is wrong. But from what I read, the text is exact if you know what to look for and if you understand the language. So let me show you something else. Check it out. We can go back to it. Let's go to the kingdom of David and Solomon. Here's an example so you can see where these areas are at, where they settled at. Aram is here towards the north. Right? Here's Beth Rehob up here. Here's Aram up here. Damascus is all the way up here in Aram. You see that? All the way over here. This is where Damascus is at. All right? Tyre and Sidon is here on the coastal plains. Kadesh, remember, you ever heard of the Battle of Kadesh with Ramses II? It happened right here in this region. Abel Beth Maacah is right here. If you go down further south, we see this was Gilead was right here. Ammon was over here. Ephraim, where Samaria, which was the capital region of the northern tribes here. Judah is down here. You see Carmel here, Hebron here. You see Beersheba down here, approaching the Negev area. You see Gaza and Ashdod, Ekron, Gath, which are part of the Pentapolis of the Philistines, was right here in this region right here. Gezer was right here. This is where that tablet was found that gives us the 12 months in which, we get the reckoning of time. It was almost like a farmer's almanac or a schoolboy's exercise of the almanac during that time period. But this is where these regions are. Jerusalem is here. Bethlehem is here. The house of bread is right here. Why is it called the house of bread? Because in that region, during that time period, within its historical context, a lot of grain grew there. So a lot of bread was produced there. So they called the city the house of bread. Okay. So again, nothing is going to be left unturned when we do these classes, because we look at all of this data. And again, I don't know how many people in our community are so extensive and comprehensive, but we'll have a whole 2-hour class and not leave one verse. We'll still be on one verse doing a whole 2-hour class, looking at every element of that verse. Morphology, syntax, okay? Looking at the etymon of words, looking at any kind of nuances in the verbal stems, okay? We're going to look at place names. We're going to look at names attributed to characters. Are these historical names, or these names created for the literature? For example, the word Hebrew, Ibri, comes from Eber, which is a Semitic word, because we have cognizance of that elsewhere. However, Ibri is something that was developed specifically for the text. You don't see Ibri anywhere in the archaeological record from what I've found and from the books that I've read. Okay? So we got to analyze these things. These things are important. Certain people were given names that was not their actual names, but it was an attribute that described the person. For example, David literally means beloved or beloved one, the loved one. All right. The loved one of who? Well, not of Jesse, his father, the loved one of the Most High. Most High says that he knows David face to face like a friend. David is a man after his heart. Right. That's why he's called the beloved one. But again, we'll learn about those names. We'll get into the name places, the locations, anything that's mentioned as far as an animal. Let me show you an example. Again, another source. This is how our studies would be. And if you want to join these studies, you have to be at the $20 tier on Patreon, where you get a 50% discount for those who are taking the classes a la carte. Because I have people signing up that are not Israelites. I have Muslims signing up. I have people who are Christians signing up. I have people who are agnostic signing up for the classes because of the approach that we take and understanding this fascinating topic of Israel and how it's situated against the ancient Near Eastern backdrop in which the culture grew. Okay. So let me show you something. So let's say we come across a particular animal, okay, or a particular crop or something like that. What source can you use in order to determine what that is? Well, we got that. For the classes, we don't play games with this. We got that. So let me bring that up for you and show it to you, okay? Check it out. Right? This book is called Fauna and Flora of the Bible. Fauna has to do with the animals. Flora has to do with the plant life, right? And if, let's say, for example, we're scrolling down, we wanted to know about the crane. All right. The crane is one of the, let me zoom in. Here it is right here. So we have an illustration of what it looks like and information on it. The crane is one of the long-legged wading birds or wadding birds. It is dark gray in color with a long beak, neck, and legs. It breeds in northern Europe and Asia and goes south during the winter. With a wing spread of 2.4 meters, it is the largest bird that flies over Palestine. Here's the source. The dictionaries maintain that the meaning of head or HB word is uncertain, and BDB points out that the cry made by a crane does not fit the context of Isaiah 38:14. The only certain thing to be said in the context of Jeremiah 8:7 suggests a migratory bird. In modern HB or Heb, agur stands for crane. AV, swallow, is incorrect. Some prefer to render the Heb as a wryneck and parmally. This is a small shot migratory bird about the size of a sparrow. It has a monotonous whistling note which make it fit Isaiah 38:14. So this source is for people who translate the text. Helps for translators. So when I put the Bible Lands as classroom on the $50 tier in Patreon, which is video designed as a translation help guide. When people come together to translate the Bible, they need helps. and these sources are made available. You can get these sources by the United Bible Society, all right? UBS. That's where I get a lot of these helps from, because their job is to provide these tools so that people can translate the Bible in other languages, right? So I read nothing but this material, but this is material that you have to familiarize yourself with when we go through our classes. All right. Again, this book is also available on the Patreon, by the way. All right. So let's say we're looking at Flora. All right. What about the cypress? All right. This is what it looks like. So if you was in the land, or if you was here in America or anywhere else and you saw this plant, you said, oh yeah, the text talks about that. It's called this. This is what it looks like. And this is the information about it. All right. So there's much disagreement as to the rendering of Te Ashur. Some BDB, Maldinik, AV, RV, NEB translate the box tree, Boxus longifolia, found formerly in the Galilean hills, northern Palestine and Lebanon. So a lot of times you have an imprint of these plants in the fossil record or in the strata that they go and excavate in order to extract materials from. And they find a lot of these plants and animals left behind, and they're able to reconstruct that certain species that have gone extinct. Okay. A lot of times we know from the drawings of it based on the archaeological data, and sometimes from ancient Near Eastern art that's drawn of some of these items. And then you'll probably see a cognate and Akkadian that also shows up, which Akkadian is Eastern Semitic, that shows up in a West Semitic language like Ugaritic. And Ugaritic is a West Semitic language like Hebrew or Aramaic, where you see another artwork talking about the same thing. So therefore, if we don't have any art from Israel about something, but yet the cognate of a particular word is found elsewhere in a Semitic language, and then that is attached to artwork of what it looks like, and then that matches against the archaeological excavation done where we're able to see the fossil left behind of that plant, then we know exactly what it is. So when people say, well, the Bible's talking about this region of the world and that region of the world, I'm like, whoa, wait, slow down. No, because you can simply debunk that by dealing with the material culture. Just giving a person this book and say, hey, do these animals live in that region? But the text talks about it, and it's other cognates and other Semitic languages in reference to this particular animal or plant, but we don't have that same thing that's existent there. It's not there. So then we have a problem. All right. All right. All right. Cool. All right. So Get Wise says, where can he sign up? All right. Let me get that for you. If you're not already signed up, I wanted to start in June, but I was focusing on the ceremony, so I did not start yet. So fret not and fear not. We have not started yet. However, I'm going to put the link in the chat if you are interested in signing up for the event. Okay. All right, so I'm going to drop the link in the chat, all right? Here it is right here. All right, that's the link for the chat, all right? Sandra Curry says, when will the class start? It's going to start this month. What day? I could try to push for Tuesday, but because I'm doing a session on birthdays on Tuesday, I'm not going to do Tuesday. So let's aim for the following Tuesday, which would be the 15th. Yah willing. All right, the 15th. All right. Okay. So, Bina, we use astronomy to study the elements in the celestial realm, or what we call the universe. Astrology is how those celestial bodies affect human affairs. All right. So that is a totally different science than astronomy, which is so astro has to do with stars. Anomy is the study of. So looking at the science of study of the stars, ology is the same thing, comes from the word logos or logos, which means the word of. So astronomy is really dealing with the science behind the orbital bodies in the universe, right? Whereas astrology is how those orbital bodies affect human affairs, or how they can be utilized, or you can discern them in order to determine what's going on in human affairs. They're two different things, right? Thank you, my brother. Yes, they are fascinating. I mean, and amazing. I have tons of sources like this, but this is how we study here. So when people say divine doesn't teach, I don't know what they're looking for. If this is not teaching, then I must have missed the memo, because we do it at a surgical, fine-tooth, minute level, and we work our way up. This is called inductive analysis, from the bottom up. A lot of them do deductive analysis from the top down, but we work from the ground up. Okay, and it's utilizing these small points as building blocks to really use it as a lens to better interpret the text. That's why my dissertation is on the utilization of cultural orientation of the ancient Israelite culture in order to better exegete or perform midrash on the text. And that's what my dissertation is about. Because without that, the modern reader is left to their own vices, and they're putting their presuppositions or imposing their presuppositions onto the text and interpret it based on their understanding of their modern world, and or maybe what they've heard of the ancient world. And we got to move from that. A good teacher on this, who's a Christian, by the way, however, he's extremely objective when it comes to the ancient Israelite culture, is John H. Walton. I put several of his books up. You can find his lectures on YouTube. Excellent, excellent work in regards to getting you to understand that culture of the ancient Israelites, learning and understanding is important in order for you to interpret the text. All right. All right. Yeah. So if you're in here, family, if you enjoy what you're seeing, hit the thumbs up button, hit the thumbs up. All right. And I'll make sure if you're brand new, hit subscribe, share this video, so that way we can get it all around the globe. All right. All right. So, Yeti Hebrew Dre, he says, Shalom King. He says, I never seen a lion in the so-called land of Israel. Now, do you know that there's an Asiatic lion? It's not there today because lions have been pushed out of their environment. That's why, right? Lions are not there anymore, but the Asiatic lion existed. All right. So do you want to look that up? Do you want to look that up? You want me to look up the Asiatic lion? Because it's in this book too. But we're going to look up the Asiatic lion. All right. All right. Remember, there's different breeds of lions that no longer exist. Okay. Let's see. Let me see if I can bring up a good source for you and I can share it. Oh, thank you, Sister V Love. Look at that. Checking in on me, making sure I'm okay. I appreciate that, sis. Just give me 5 minutes. All right. Give me 5 minutes and I'll close it out. Thank you, sis. I appreciate that. All right. Exactly. Good point, Sharif. Good point. But I think it was Yeti. I'm still waiting on that scripture that you had. All right. Shout out to Sister Allison in Wonderland in the building. Shalom, sis. Let me see. Berean Watchman, shalom. William Allen, shalom. Okay. Yes. Like the North African lion. Correct. So, let's look at the different species of these lions since you're asking that. And remember, a lot of these things no longer exist. Matter of fact, if you ever studied ancient Near Eastern art, I don't know if you've ever been to Metropolitan Museum before, but if you go to any museum that shows you about ancient art, you'll see tons of different animals that they depict that are no longer in existence today. And a lot of times people will see that and say, oh, that's myth or that's fairy tale, until excavations are done. And there's excavations that reflect the exact art that is written and drawn by these individuals, which is phenomenal. All right. Phenomenal. So just because you don't see them there today does not mean they never existed there. All right. Just because you don't see them today doesn't mean they never existed there. All right. All right. So let's look up the Asiatic lion. All right. Let me get a good source for it. If I can, this thing is not letting me. All right, here we go. Right, let me bring up the source here. All right, let me zoom in. Now, this is a site that anybody can go to, National Geographic. All right. The common name is Asiatic lion. The scientific name is Panthera leo-persica. Right. It's a mammal carnivore. Group name is Pride. Average lifespan in the wild, 16 to 18 years. Weight, 300 to 500 pounds. Size relative to a 6-foot man. All right. It's on the endangered species list. Current population trend is stable. Then the all-wild lions live in sub-Saharan Africa, but one small population of Asiatic lions exists in India's Gir forest. Asiatic lions and African lions are subspecies of the same species. Asiatic lions once prowled from the what? Middle East or Western Asia to India. Now only a fraction of these magnificent animals survive in the wild. The Gir forest's dry teak woods were once a royal hunting ground. Today they are reserved where these at-risk big cats are heavily protected. All right. Now, my brother, if you want to know more about these type of lions, there's tons of information online about them, right? We have artwork, ancient Near Eastern artwork of these lions. The cognate of the word lion, which sometimes people misconstrue for the word fear, in the Hebrew Bible, can also be found in other Semitic languages with art that depicts this animal in that region. And we can also look at the fossils left behind in ancient Near East and measure them against the living Asiatic lion there in India today and see it's the same species, my brother. Case closed. That's all. A little bit of research goes a long way. All right. So when you say that, my brother, I'm just trying to figure out, out of love, I would just love to know, when you say I've never seen a lion in the so-called land of Israel, what did you mean by that? Was that sarcasm? Was that a humorous insertion? What did you mean by that, my brother? I'm not sure. But this is why we study like this, right? We study like this because if the Bible says lions, and somebody go there today and say, I don't see no lions here, but if I go to Africa and India, I see lions. They're going based off of only empirical data of their limited observation, right? But when you go and look at excavational digs, where they've unearthed fossils and look at ancient Near Eastern artwork, you'll see that they line up. And then you take those fossils and the artwork and you measure against the animal that is endangered and is still living today and see which animal it is. Is this the animal that we see in the Serengeti? Or is this the lion that we see over here in India? Oh, it measures the same way. India is smaller. The cranial is different. The paw straight width, all of that. You get to measure all these things. That's why fossils are great methods of determining how something migrated, where it came from. Matter of fact, craniometric analysis was also utilized to determine who those skulls and Lachish that were left behind after the Assyrians sacked Lachish, what people group are they likened to? And it were people that was in Egypt, more specifically in northern Egypt, where Asiatics dwelt, which goes to show that we had a migration of those people from that region to that area in Canaan. Okay. So you said there's no dragons in China. Well, what is a dragon? Do you know the history behind how the dragon that you see today came about? Did you know that there's extinct lizards that resemble a dragon? And what they did was they took those real life animals and they turned them into myths because they represented something. So therefore they exaggerated. This is a literary device. This is what they do with literary devices. Sometimes you take something that's real and you add things for teaching purposes. My brother, where are you going at with this? Not sure where you're going at with this, but okay. All right. They don't have any dragons there. So tell me in Mandarin Chinese, what's the word for dragon? I know it. I've done research on this. What's the Mandarin Chinese word for dragon? I'll wait. What's the Mandarin Chinese word for dragon? It's an open book test. If you want to go online and cheat, you can. Or if you want to go live with me and talk one-on-one, we can unfold this. And let me know about any of the excavational digs they did in China of those type of extinct species of lizards. And let me know which ones in particular are represented by the artwork that was written by the Chinese people today. I'll wait, my brother. I'll just wait. Just want to make sure we're on the same page. Just let me know when you're ready. All right. They do not have flying dragons in China. Did I say there was flying dragons in China? Did you not understand what a literary device is? Okay, Can somebody put in the link what a literary device is? I don't think he understands what that is. Somebody add what a literary device is. Somebody add that for them. If not, I'll throw it in there. All right. Anytime my brother Yeti Hebrew Dre, we learn from each other. We learn from each other, King. So I'm waiting on him to do that here. Epic, you got it, but you helping King David. I want to make sure King David, he told me I'm losing my Hebrew mind. See, this is what people do, right? We talk about the Asiatic lion and people go to flying dragons in China. You can't make this stuff up. You talk about the Asiatic lion and then somebody takes that and goes to flying dragons in China. Bruh, come on, man. I don't know what's going on, man. I don't know what's going on, but it's all good. All right, so I'm about to get off here, man. I don't know how that just got turned around, but this is the thing that happens, that people start to say these things and cause distractions. He says comprehension must be a lost key. I don't know what you mean by that. So what I'm going to do for you, King David, so we can have a discussion. All right. I'm going to drop the link in the chat. Click the link. And even with my 2.5 hours of sleep, I'm going on almost 24 hours being awake. Another 4 hours, 6 hours. I don't even know. I lost track of time. But the link is in the chat. Let's go into the Mandarin Chinese word for dragon. And what we're going to do is look at the etymology, the etymological development of that word, its connotations that it took on over time. And we're going to look at the various dynasties and how they depicted dragons. They all didn't depict them the same. And all of them were not flying. For the record, if you've looked at the artwork, my brother, I've been to several museums. I've spoke to several professors of both Far East and Near East literature, history, and language. All right. I'm not hostile, my brother. I share the link with you. How come everybody always tries to use that word hostile and defensive and emotional? You know why they use those terms? Because that way they can justify not having a civil discourse with me. You see, I'll tone it down. It's mostly the men that's complaining. The men is the one saying, you're emotional, you're hostile, you're defensive. The men are saying this. Why? And King David, you cool peoples, you know what I'm saying? But why is the men so intimidated by how I talk? I don't understand what's going on. Okay. All right. So I gotta talk nice and soft. These men want other men to talk soft. I don't know where they do that at. Well, actually, I do know where they do that at. But that's not happening over here. All right. So it's not me being hostile, my brother. Please don't misconstrue what's coming out. I'm simply inviting you to a dialogue. When I talk with any of my guests, am I hostile towards them? Am I aggressive towards them? Am I emotional towards them? No. We have a high-spirited brotherly discussion and even debate. And I'm always respectful, and I always give the person an opportunity to speak. All right? So my brother, now he's saying you're sensitive. All of that so he don't have to click the link. All right, I'm gonna leave it alone. So let's end off the show. All right. Facts, Alvin, of course. So let's end off the show on a good note. All right. He's saying all of this, typing, but won't click the link. If you want a number to call, and some people say, well, I can't get on the internet. So you know what? I send a link and people say they don't know how to work the link. You simply click the link. And then when you click the link, if you're on a phone, it's going to ask you to click another button to access your mic and camera. And that's it. If you're on a computer, it's going to prompt you the same thing. If Chrome, Firefox, whatever web browser you use, Edge, it's going to actually do the same thing. You click on the link and it'll allow you to come through. You allow access to your webcam and mic, and then you can join the discussion. If you can't do that, I'm sure you can dial a number, right? Can you dial a number on your phone? Does your phone work? I can give you a number as well. You see, I got to talk this way because these men get intimidated and they say I'm sensitive. They say I'm emotional. This is what they say. Why are they saying all of that? Huh? Why are you saying all of that? Maybe you're around timid men that speak softly to you. Maybe that's what you're used to. Okay, I'm from New York. This is how we talk to each other. So I'm used to that. So when somebody talks like that, I don't take offense to it. That's a man. He's supposed to have some bass in his voice. He's supposed to have some passion behind him. Who's going to lead a soft, timid man? Okay, I'm not going to talk loud. I'm going to talk like this. Come on, son. Yo, the link is there, man. You can say whatever you want, King David. The link is there, bruh. The link is there. There's the link right there. You keep typing. The link is there. It's right there. The link is there. So let's end off on a good note, because the brother doesn't want the phone number so he can call, and he does not want to click the link. So all he's going to do is continuously put comments, ad hominems, right? He's going to try to find various self-defensive mechanisms of projection, etc., just so that he simply doesn't click the link and have a dialogue. Because what tends to happen is people say a lot of stuff in the chat until we have a one-on-one conversation, and the whole game changes. And depending upon your energy and your level of knowledge is where I'm going to meet you at. Try not to go too under or too above, right? Too below, too above. I try to stay where a person is at, because, you know, we have people that jump on here and they try to get into things and they see I know it, and then it changes everything because they thought they had an angle. There's no flying dragons in China. Oh, you didn't know I was studying Far Eastern? You didn't know that? Did you know I have footage of me going to museums and actually speaking to the curator at the museum about dragons? Specifically, you know why? Because I did a cross-cultural analysis on Leviathan. My brother. I take my time with this. I'm surgical. All right. I didn't get to this stage by accident. I had to put a lot of work, a lot of sleepless nights into it. Right. So your comments didn't hurt my feelings, my brother. You know why? Because when I close this, I'm gonna be sleeping like this. You know what I'm gonna be dreaming? I'm gonna be dreaming about dragons. I'm gonna be riding on the back of dragons. That's what I'm gonna be dreaming about when I go to sleep. Person whose feelings is hurt, they're not gonna sleep soundly, because you're gonna be on their mind. They're gonna be bothered. I'm gonna be sleeping. I'm gonna be drooling. I'm gonna be snoring, dreaming about dragons. This guy's funny. You said, who cares about dragons? You brought the dragons up. I didn't bring the dragons up. Who brought the dragons up? Come on, my brother. Stop that. Shalom, sis, for his glory, 2419. Shalom. Angie, love ya. Shalom. Yes, sis. I'm about to get off. Thank you, Sister Nina Bina. I appreciate that. Miss B. Yo, I don't know what's wrong with these guys, man. They're very sensitive. They want grown men to talk to them like women. I don't know about that. That's not going to happen over here, bro. That's not. It's just not going to happen, all right? All right, shout out to Joy Lamb 747 and building my brother John and Dorothy. Shalom, Anai, Ismael, shalom. You think that when we do these classes, and I'm gonna say this, right, for the record, when people sign up for these classes and they take these classes consistently, their level of knowledge and study is going to be so expansive that their spiritual lives are going to increase. You know why? Because this will allow them to have the proper foundation to build a spiritual life on. You cannot have a functional spiritual life if the foundational aspects or the concrete aspects of it have not been laid down. Thank you, my brother Scott Garrett Headley, for the donation. I appreciate that, King. So we're going to look at every nook and cranny. So when people say flying dragons, and we can see the Leviathan and also the term dragon mentioned like in the book of Revelation, stuff like that, we're going to look at other cultures and the usage of the word dragon. We're going to look at ancient Near Eastern and Far Eastern art and even African art, right? So art, we're going to look at the material culture. We're going to look at the language and cognates that may exist in Semitic, loan words, borrowed words, etc. And we're going to do our cross-cultural analysis or comparative cultural analysis. So when people bring things up like flying dragons and they say, well, you know what? There's flying dragons in China and that's a myth. So therefore, if it's mentioned in the Bible, it's a myth too. Wait, slow down, bruh. Slow down. It sounds good, but it has not been vetted what you're saying. You've not done the study. So then we have to shine a light and we'll be able to educate them in love. I don't learn this so I can put a brother or sister down. I learn it so that when people come in here and they throw all types of assertions in here, we let them know we're prepared for it and we can address and deal with it. If you look simply at the Mandarin Chinese word for dragon, my brother, you'll get to see the origin of what this thing is. But you still have not given that to us, my brother. That's it. It's all good. Divine is sensitive. I'm sensitive. Yes, my brother. I'm very sensitive. I'm sensitive to BS. That's what I'm sensitive about. If you were talking to the other brother, no problem. But you know what? You caught my attention. I addressed it. Why are you talking about flying dragons when we're talking about Asiatic lions? They're unrelated, my brother. All right. So shout out to Fritz Foxwell in the building. Shalom. All right. Fly off the realm. Shalom. Yaakov Shaul. Shalom. My brother, the Most High, Chow Shayo Rala. Brother Chris in the building. What's going on, King? Matthew Yahoo Ben Yisrael. What's going on? Zen Humara. Shalom. Of course, he's not gonna click on the link, and he's not gonna provide information. So trolls, and this is our resident troll. King David is cool people. He's just our resident troll. Sometimes he's here, he contributes great information. Sometimes he contributes some wild information. And his wild information, I would love to learn more about, but he never wants to click the link to have a dialogue, and he never wants to pick up his phone to call. Maybe he's technologically, illiterate. He doesn't know how to operate his webcam or call a number, and it's okay. But for our resident trolls and new trolls, any trolls that come in here, you can't just say something in here and get away with it, right? You can't do that. We're going to ask you, please be able to demonstrate what you're talking about. That's all. All right. And they're not going to provide the source. So I asked them for the source. I asked them if he had any resources on it. But I have a good book for you, King David, The Lucid Fire, if you're interested in the source of where this idea of dragons comes from in China. I have a great book for you if you want. Email me and I'll send it to you so that you can read and research it. So when we do have a dialogue, you won't feel like it's ambush scholarship. Like I'm just ambushing you because I know and you don't know. I want to provide you with the same data so we can have a comprehensive and constructive dialogue. All right. So that's how it is, my brother. All right. There's no sensitivity here on some feminine type stuff, because even women who are sensitive are highly intuitive. So never misconstrue a woman who's sensitive because she's just highly intuitive. And if you took time to learn about that woman, you would understand that and see it's actually a strength. But because you're taking advantage of it or you're misinterpreting it, it's being expressed as a weakness. But that's another conversation altogether. All right. Another conversation. All right. So good question, Matthew Yahoo Ben Israel. My whole lecture series, I touched on this. Right. So let me drop that lecture series link in the chat for you. So that way you can go and check it out yourself. But in that lecture series, I actually address it. Let me drop it in the link. And the whole purpose of the calendar is, our calendar is so that way you can determine when the feast days are here based on your immediate environment. All right. That's how it works. All right. Hey, they didn't get the memo, bruh. They don't know how we roll off camera. But on camera, we got to be somewhat politically correct because any and everybody's watching, and anybody can misconstrue anything that I'm saying and try to use it against me, because the doors where we're opening for the community, the places that we're going, I'm not going to let no Negro or troll ruin that. It's not going to happen. Okay. And like I said, after every session, I sleep calmly, soundly, and with Yah on my mind. I don't worry about anything. Somebody can threaten my life, and I'm going to go to sleep on my nice, soft gel and memory foam pillow, on my 12-inch mattress with memory foam and gel infused in it with bamboo and charcoal. And I'm going to sleep with the sheet on me and the cover over me, and I'm going to sleep soundly. And I'm going to just go to sleep, and I'm going to dream about whatever I want to dream. I do not fear anything. I'm not worried about nothing. And when you get that relationship with Yah, you will also have that same thing. There's a reason why Yah speaks negatively about anxiety. A lot of us are too anxious. A lot of us are too sensitive based on comments and things that people say online because of our history. Maybe our parents may have said certain things to us. Friends may have said certain things of us experiencing relationships. But certain things happen that epigenetically morph and transform our current disposition, so that way certain buzzwords do get to us. But when it comes to me, none of this stuff bothers me, son. Okay? From New York, the era that I grew up in, we can't be sensitive men, bruh. Do you understand? We have put in work. I'm not going to put my whole history out there. But what I'm simply saying is you cannot show that form of weakness. So what I do here is to keep this show entertaining so people can be educated in the process. People can learn things in the process. So don't misconstrue what I'm saying and doing as being sensitive. Because, I take a moment out to educate trolls because I want them to understand this because they'll learn something in it. Don't misconstrue it as emotional. Don't misconstrue it as me being upset, me being angry, and me being hostile. Brother, you never see me hostile. You never see me hostile. But if you threaten my family and I see you in person, you will see hostility, my brother, because I follow Torah. Ain't no soft Christians over here. All right. Eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. If you want to see me hostile, come threaten my family in person. Matter of fact, you may not walk away because we stay strapped. So you may not walk away. You may get shot. All right. I'm just saying you may hypothetically get shot. I'm not saying I'm going to shoot anybody. I'm just saying if you want to see me hostile, you threaten my family in person and see what happens to you. And if I don't get to you, somebody's going to get to you. That's all I'm saying. That's seeing me hostile, where there's some kind of inflicted injury. Online, it's not that serious. Online is just the internet. Okay. So I had to take time out to let people understand there's a difference between the internet and real life. All right. Real life, we gets busy. On the internet, this is edutainment, my brother. Okay. And I'm saying this out of love because I care about you. You've been here for some time, King David. I respect you, my brother. So I have to talk to you and, give you a little moment, a little bit of time. All right. Okay. All right. We're gonna take it back down. Right. We're gonna stay on a spiritual level. Right. And again, the objective of this is for edification. And I only simply said that not for you to be offended, but for you to go back and research so you can understand what literary devices are. You can go back and look at Far Eastern artwork so you can understand. Matter of fact, my brother Aaron the Presby, he's in Korea. Okay. And I'm sure he may have seen some artwork in Korea. I'm not sure if he's been to any museums out there. But if you travel enough, if you speak to people enough, if you enjoy the finer aspects of life, such as museums and artwork and stuff of that nature, and then you speak to curators and professors and you go to conferences and stuff like I've been, then you learn these things, right? And what I simply do is take that knowledge and I give it to y'all, right? So everybody can save time in their research. That's the objective. The purpose of these classes is to cut your study time in like bite-sized pieces. So you can take 15, 20 minutes, attack a verse, and know every nuance to look at to understand it more deeply. And wherever that leads you, if it leads you to be a Christian, an Israelite, in Hinduism or whatever, that's totally between you and your creator. All right. I'm just simply giving you the tools so that way you can get the best extraction of the information based on how the author intended for the audience. And what you do with your spiritual walk after that is between you and the Most High. All right. That's all. That's all. Yes, my brother Aaron the Presby, he can attest to that. So my brother, when you get a chance, and I didn't say you did, King David, when you get a chance, just go to a museum. I gave you an example. I don't know what city you in. What city and state you in, King David? Let me find a museum for you that showed you about Far East. Matter of fact, because of Asian hate right now in America, America, there's this big thing about Asian hate, right? I have no issue with that. But now what they're doing is they're doing more exhibits on Far Eastern culture. So that way the public can be sensitized to Asian culture and history. Matter of fact, I just did one online. What was that website, man? They had a free course on there where they was going into the Ming Dynasty and talking about art during the Ming Dynasty in that length of time and the changes based on a political atmosphere. It's very, very interesting link. And if you want, I can send it out there and I can show you that. Facts. So I can share that with you so that way you can watch the same thing and just expand your knowledge, right? You don't have to just shoot from the hip all the time. Sometimes you keep it holstered and learn how the gun works first. And when I say learn how the gun works, not just to aim it, point it, and shoot it, but what about the caliber size? What about the barrel length, right? What about the firepower, right? What about the handle, okay? Do you need a shoulder stock depending upon what type of gun it is? These things you need to understand about the weapon you're holding, not just the fact that you can shoot it and kill somebody, okay? So before you throw something out there, take some time and research it, and then come and share your research so we can learn together. All right. So shout out to my brother Yes More. So let's end this off on a good note, positive note. We're already on 2 hours. All right. I want to show you this book here by the brother Jerry McRae. He was just on here earlier by a different name. I got a little confused. But we went and we spent some time together, my family and his family. And he told me, yeah, I write kids books. I said, you write children's books? He said, yeah. And he told me the title of it. I said, brother, I got to buy that. And then I got to bring you on this my show, so you can show it. Is there a source for John 1 being a prologue? Yes, there is. Matter of fact, interesting that you say that. Matter of fact, there's a good book that's a starter on the book of John that you can read. And then there's other articles that are written about the Johannine community and the prologue that was created in John 1 to combat Gnosticism during that time period. Okay. So let me give you the book for John first, so you can see it. If you're interested, sis, just email me and I can send it to you. No problem. But it's on the Patreon. All right. Everything is on the Patreon. Anything I say, it's on the Patreon. Right. Patreon has over 210 books on there. It's on the Patreon. Okay. But yeah, let me show you the book real quick, sis. I'm sorry. I'm gonna get back to the other book that I was telling you about. Let me just make sure she has this resource real quick. All right. I'm gonna show you the book. Where's it at? Here it is. All right. This is the book right here. All right. It's called The Origins of John's Gospel, edited by Stanley E. Porter and Hudson T. Ong. Johannine Studies 2. All right. And this goes into dating sources and traditions of John's Gospels, right? The Johannine community, which you must understand because they had a lot to contribute to what we have today as far as the book of John. All right. Anti-Judaism and the Son of Man saying, structure, composition, authorship. See, a lot of people are not familiar with that. So the way they interpret the text tends to be slightly off, especially when I talk to some Christians, because this is written by Christians and they don't even understand it. But that's neither here nor there. But this source is good, sis. If you're interested in the origin of John's gospel, I recommend you read this first before you get into additional articles that talk about the Johannine community being responsible for creating the prologue of John chapter 1. All right. Scott, I will be doing that soon. All right. All right. So, oh, my bad, Forrest Glory. You say you're a brother. My apologies. My apologies. My apologies. But yes, email me and I'll send this to you, or just go to the Patreon, sign up for the Patreon, support the ministry, sign up for the Patreon, and you get access to this and tons of other books on almost any subject as it pertains to Israelite culture, health, autonomy, etc. We have everything on here. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, we have self-help. I didn't even go through all the Patreon stuff to show you about the books we have on there about soap making, shampoo making, lotion making, permaculture, aquaponics. I'm going to add that to it. Everything is on the Patreon. All right. Everything's on the Patreon. Okay. All right. So that's that. So let me get back to this book so I can go dream about the flying dragons in ancient China. All right. So when I spoke to the brother, Jerry McRae, and he, broke down for me that he wrote children's books, I said, well, what's the name of it? He told me the name. And I was like, my brother, I got to get you on here and show it to you. Right. So here it is. Black fathers are real. We do exist. Right. Written by Jerry McRae, illustrated by Aaron Archie. All right. And that's the brother right there. Jerry McRae. That's his son that I met. His daughter right there in the back. This one right here in the back. I believe that's his daughter in the back. Sure. And this is them right here as a family on the back. Letting people know that Black fathers exist. All right. I'm proof of that for my kids. I will never be out of my kids' life as long as I can help it. All right. Because I want them to understand what a functional family looks like. All right. And they are my legacy. So why would I abandon my legacy? All right. Nothing you do in your lifetime, if you have children, means anything if your children cannot brag about it after you're gone. If your children are ashamed about it or they never even knew you, then you didn't really leave a legacy behind. Right. So writing this book about Black fathers are real, I need to get this in the hand of everybody, not just in the Black community, in white communities, Asian communities, Arab communities, East Indian communities, because all of them have the same stereotype that Black fathers are not in their children's life. This is being perpetuated based on, false misrepresentations in the media, because you have celebrities who are not the best example of what a Black family should look like. By the way, especially if you're getting it from hip hop, you're getting it from hip hop, which hip hop permeates everywhere throughout the world. So interfacing with rap music and how Black men talk about Black women and how Black women over-sexualize themselves. so they can attract black men to get the money, which represents security, provision, and protection. And black men use the money to attract the women and turn them out, so that way they can have children with them or for them. And so that way they can fulfill their innate purpose of procreation. Remember I said I'm gonna do a short little video on that. Y'all go wait for that. That's really good. This needs to be in the hands of everybody so we can eliminate those stereotypes. And again, there are some black fathers out there that want to be black fathers, that want to be real fathers in their child's life. Sometimes, you know, it's the mother that gets in the way. Sometimes it's the state or the government that gets in the way. Sometimes it's some other issue that gets in the way. And we understand that. But the key thing is make the effort as much as you possibly can to be in your child's life. Make the effort. Okay. So him doing this book and living as an example, I think is awesome. Right. And if you've never had the father, then you be the father that you wanted to have for your children. And that way you can relive vicariously through them. All right. Yes, my brother. Yes, Shimon, they are here. All right. All right. So even if you don't have any kids and you have a nephew, or you have, or, you know, somebody else's child that you're close with because there's a close friend or something like that, it takes a village to raise a child. My children cannot be raised just by me and Maisha. They have to be raised by a village of people who we trust that's going to be able to look after them in my absence. What if something happens to me? The same values that I have, the same way that I think, that I act, that I want to bestow the best on my children, I have to be able to trust my community to raise them in my absence, because anything can happen. But anyway, I'm going to have the brother on here. He's going to be showcasing this book, giving you some information about it. Again, I mean, this is a phenomenal book, man. Excellent, excellent book. Artwork is beautiful. You know what I'm saying? I mean, this is just incredible just to look at this. Really incredible. You know what I'm saying? Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Actually, I want to have one of me and my family. So maybe he can write one, help me write one with me about me and my family, and showing the beauty of what a family unit is supposed to look like. All right. Okay. So let me get off here. I'm over 2 hours, supposed to do an hour and a half. Actually, I'm not even tired no more. I'm not even sleepy no more. Like the adrenaline is rushing, you know what I'm saying? And I just want to keep going for another hour or two, but I'm going to break it down because the sisters are going to beat me up if I don't back off and get some rest. All right. I know the brothers, we can hang, bro, but the sisters is like, yo, get some rest. So I'm going to listen. I'm going to listen. All right. And I'm going to go. So family, I hope you enjoyed this show. Thank everybody for the donations. I appreciate that. You can best support this ministry by signing up at www.patreon.com, DivineProspect, if you're interested in joining our ministry. So that way you can leave an impact in your community by transforming the community by ways of translating Torah into practical solutions for the Black and brown community. Then that's what we're here to do. We're here to get you in groups. We have tons of things going on. Want to get you active, get you motivated, and start getting the work done. All right. Matiaho, maybe sometime in the future, but I'm gonna keep it sleep. Yo, Ice You Code is hilarious, man. Please don't make me laugh because I'm gonna keep going. All right, I'm gonna keep going. But if anybody here also needs any, if you've seen any books that we have on there and you can't afford to pledge monthly for the Patreon, that's fine. Email me and I'll get it to you. But it's just more convenient if you do pledge for the Patreon. You can even pledge $1, right? Pledge for the Patreon so you can support this ministry, because with those funds, I'm able to purchase more books, read them, and then use them for you, create more content, whether it's my own unique original content or share you content that's relevant to what we teach and share here on this channel. And that way we also amass funds. So in the case that there's a need in the community, we can use a surplus of the funds that we hold aside and be able to help Black families and brown families in need. All right. Because we're trying to cater to those who are at the bottom of the ranks in regards to the societal eye. Okay. Yo, what's y'all making me laugh, man. I love y'all, man. Y'all the best group ever. So family, hit that thumbs up. All right, hit the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, share this video. All right, again, if you need anything from us, email us at kingdomharbinger@gmail.com. If you're a KHM member and you need something, email us at khmgroupemail@gmail.com. all right, if you need help or assistance, email us. If you want to support the ministry, our Cash App there, our Patreon is there. And if you want to call and speak to me, because my line is open to speak to any and everybody, okay? The number is right there, 678-430-3832. Call Monday to Friday 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and you can schedule an appointment to speak to me, all right? Because I'm never too big for my bridges. You understand? I'm here for the people, and everybody that's in the chat. I probably spoke to more than half of y'all already over the phone, all right? I'm here to talk to the people, keep my ear to the street, help in any way that I can, receive help and assistance from you guys, and we're here to do this together because we are only as good as our weakest link, all right? Brother Aaron, do not call right now. If you call, you're going to get our voicemail. Call during the time where our inbound team is there so they can take the call and process the call. All right. All right. So King David, it's all good, King. Yeah, I'm good. No problem. My brother, I told you I'm going to be sleeping thinking about flying dragons. Thanks to you. All right. Matter of fact, you're going to make me pull out my old books on Far East art. Matter of fact, I may present one next Friday for y'all. Just remind me and I'll bring it out. All right. So it's all good, King. It's all good. So I appreciate you being on here. I'm glad we're able to keep things energetic, entertaining, and educating for the community. We work together, and I love you guys. All right, so make sure you get some rest. Yes, it's Saturday. Nobody call. Thank you, my brother Jen and Drew 7 Day Dairy for that. Shout out to Truth Seeker in the building. I see you, King. I see you. Anybody else I missed? Did I get everybody? Eliyahu Yasharel. He says, "Where did you get your necklace from?" I could tell you, but then I have to kill you. No, I'm just joking. I'm just joking. I'm just joking. It's just a joke. All right. I don't want nobody to misconstrue that. It's a joke. It's called an idiom. Okay. But now, if you're interested in this piece, there's a sister that does make it. Actually, I had it modified. So this was added later. This piece was, I had the piece first with another necklace, but the other necklace broke. So I had a brother do, his name is Derek Silas, by the way. I had a brother do I saw him to add this piece to this piece, and it actually came out really good. And you got to see, I'm gonna see my other two necklaces there in the back as well. But if you're interested in this, just email me. I'll send you the brother's contact information, and he can make you a dope piece too. All right. Let me go ahead and put my hostility to bed. Dream about these flying dragons, man. And we can go from there. All right. All right, man. So Matiyahu Ben Yisrael, I'm gonna answer this last thing. I gotta go. Thank you, Truth Seeker. I appreciate it. Y'all keep me energetic and on my toes, so I'm here to serve y'all. He says, why would Yah use a serpent in the wilderness, knowing how the world will worship the dragon? So when you say a serpent in the wilderness, what are you referring to? Are you talking about the incident in Numbers? Are you talking about Genesis 3? Are you talking about Revelation 12? I don't know what verse you're referring to. What verse are you referring to? You said yes. Yes to which one? Which verse? Type it real fast because I got to get off and get some rest. And we can always talk again, my brother. So real fast, type it in. What are you referring to specifically? Numbers? Okay. So we went over this. Matter of fact, this is what I want you to do. Type in my name in the word Genesis, and you'll see the live that I did where I talk about the seraph, because we're talking about a serpentine-like creature, okay, called a seraph. And if you understand the connection, when I explain what a synecdoche is, as far as a literary device, which is a part of something is used to represent the whole, right? And I showed the interchangeability between seraph and nakash, right? And then what we have is the word nakash that's there in the Genesis 3, but then in Numbers, it's the word nakash and seraph. So nakashim, seraphim, so nakash and seraph, how they're interchangeable. And that's referring to, and these weren't these serpents as we think in serpents today, even though some lexicons say that they're called fire, they could be considered fiery serpents based on the venom that they projected or inserted upon biting. But I beg to differ, because when you look at other sister cultures, you'll see various serpentine creatures that are not meant to be exact replicas of snakes or serpents here, that are here in actuality, right? So this is what this represents. But again, if you want to hear me go into that in more detail, you're saying, well, why would Yah allow that to happen, knowing that people will worship the Nekushtan, That's what it is. The Nehushtan. That's what the people worshipped during the king's reigns in Israel when they was going astray, right? The bronze serpent that was lifted up, the saraf that was lifted up, they would worship that. So that's what man has done. Man has always worshipped the creation over the creator. And the reason why is because man cannot see the creator. So man can only see the image of the creation. So therefore he uses that as a means or an impetus to worship the unseen. So they use the seen to worship the unseen. But Israelite culture operates a little bit differently, because when you keep the statutes, laws, and commandments, you get to experience the unseen without having an image to represent the unseen. All right. Yeah, no problem, Matthew Yahoo. But yeah, go back and check that out, and you can really get a little bit more information on that. So are you saying is Azazel a Saraf? No, Azazel is not a Saraf. Excellent. I can tell you thinking critically, my brother. I like that. No, he's not a Saraf. From my research, he's not a Saraf. The only additional details we have of Azazel come from the book of Enoch, and they call him a watcher. We also see that word watch in the book of Daniel, which is a special order of divine entities, okay? Ontological entities that have a particular purpose. I don't know how many of y'all watch or read comics in here, but I used to read comics back in the day. I used to be an avid comic reader. I had thousands of comics. I still have some of them today. I have maybe about 300 comics today. Some of them are worth like $10,000, $20,000, $30,000. And I said I would never sell it. I promised myself I would never sell it because I want to keep it for future generations. But if I ever go broke, I'm going to sell those comics. You know what I'm saying? I used to read this magazine called Wizard, and they would tell you how much the comics were valued at. But nonetheless, in Marvel Comics, there's these beings called the Watchers. Matter of fact, there's a movie coming out called The Eternals. I don't know if you know anything about what I'm talking about, but if you know about the Eternals, they're supposed to be entities that just watch over mankind and not interfere. So this Watcher paradigm pre-existed the Marvel Universe, obviously, because the Marvel Universe, derives a lot of their influence from myths and legends and other ancient cultures and so forth. But there are these entities that are on mountaintops that are designed to view what people are doing. They represent the divine council as these intermediary entities that reside on mountaintops, and they are designed to watch the affairs of mankind without interfering. But what happens in the case of Azazel and the others he made the pact with, these Ben Elohim, that they violated what they were created to do, and they really engaged in the women, right, and started produce offspring, which was unnatural and wasn't supposed to occur, right? Facts, Yeti Hebrew Dre. That's how I know you watch comics. You know what I'm saying? Yeshamor, yo, my brother, get in touch with me. We're actually creating an anime. Sister Allison, I don't know if she's still in here. When y'all see the new calendar, and again, it's late, I know, but it's better late than never. You're going to see some of the sister's artwork. And then the brother Jeremiah, he is the anime writer. So, and then we have another brother that illustrates anime as well. We're going to do one of the first Israelite animes. So if you hear anybody else take this idea and try to do it, they're getting it from us. But we're going to make a first anime that represents Israelite culture. And then we're going to start getting into doing comics and animation, etc. That's what we all have, in alignment for the winter that's coming up, Q4 going into Q1. But we want to do this simply so that way we can inspire communities, because a lot of times what happens is we have Israelites that used to watch anime heavy. They come into the truth and they kind of put off the anime because it's not edifying. But if we can produce anime that represents our culture, the things that we value, the scriptures, our history, etc., and reflect that in a fictional way, right? Just what we call historical fiction, then we can get those people who have a passion for that. And that could be the thing that gets them back in the scriptures. They may get to a point in their life where like, man, I'm not inspired to read or anything like that, but they'll go see an anime and be like, oh, wow. Like, man, that's dope. Yeah. And they get more engaged. So we use these as aids to bring people back to their roots, their culture, and to their study into the text. There's no dull moment when you learn this way. None. There's so much to unravel. I had people say, I read the whole book. But did you understand what you read? And you read it, but do you understand? Me, I read about 90% of the Bible. Read about 90% of the Bible. I didn't take time to understand the 90% that I read, and the 10% I didn't read yet. This 10% of the text I didn't read yet. I read 90% of the Bible, and out of that 90% that I read, I think I understood maybe 65 to 70% of that 90% that I read. I still need to invest time to get to that other 20%, and then invest time to read that other 10%, and then invest time to study the other 10%. So when somebody just says, who jumps out the community, the non Israelite community, I read the whole Bible already. Well, what? So what? You read it. That don't mean nothing. That don't mean you understand anything. You can read anything. You can read the Constitution. I read the Constitution. That don't mean you understand it. There's a whole context behind why it's here. All right. So anyway, Calvin Riley, listen, if anybody's interested in doing this, let me know. Let me know if anybody's interested in doing this. Let me know. So Nina Bina, we will be in the UK late August, September of this year. That's the goal. All right. We have a lot of people in the UK that's part of KHM, and we will be in London in August, September of this year. I'm not sure which month. I'm trying not to go there when it's cold because London gets frigid. But we will also be on Speaker's Corner and have a whole booth out there on Speaker's Corner just going in. We're not playing games. When we get to London, it's a wrap. But we will be in London. All right. Before this year's over, y'all willing, we're pressing. We will be in London setting up a KHM chapter there. All right. All right. Again, if anybody has any ideas or anything in regards to different ways we can branch out learning for this community, email me at kingdomharbinger@gmail.com. We could bring you on for the project because we have about 40 project managers working on multiple projects. This is another realm of project we want to work on, which is film, media, animation, etc. So if you're interested in giving ideas, writing a script, drawing illustrations or whatever, we want to be that avenue that you can do it through. All right. Partner with us. Let us give you our resources, whether it's manpower, finances, to put behind that idea. Because if that's something that's going to re-engage the community back into the culture, to get them deeper into the scriptures, into our history, into the language, etc., then we want to foster that. That's why we exist. So that way we can create a truly autonomous community, so we can be reliant upon our own creations for our own edification and education. All right. All right. So with that being said, love your family. Yes, the realness, the radio. Matter of fact, my brother LAE that's up there, he's working on KHM radio. If you want to join us, the realness, email us at kingdomharbinger@gmail.com and we will put you down. All right. We will put you down. All right. Chris is funny, man. So Nina Bina, so you said, how can you connect with others in the UK? You can get our app or sign up or go online to our Kingdom Harbinger Ministries. Let me drop the link in the chat for you. Go online, sign up for membership. Let us lock you in. And what we'll do is we'll add you to our London group when we get there to London. Okay. There's about 15, 20 different people in London that follow this ministry hard. And we're going to meet them when we come out there, when we do our chapter launch. So what you'll do, sis, I can tell you about people now in London, but I'd rather you meet them in person. Okay. And that's why I physically take time, energy, and resources with my team to go to these cities and set up chapters, because I'm not one of these people that only want to be virtual, where you never see this person. You see them on YouTube all the time, but I don't see you on the streets. You see Divine in all these cities, man. I'm everywhere. I'm not hard to find. We will be in Raleigh, Durham this month. We'll be in Houston next month. We'll be in New York in August. We'll be in the UK late August, early September. You're going to see me. I'm not afraid to go to these places, man, because our people need help there. And we don't want you just to meet people virtually. We want you to physically connect and meet people in a safe environment where they've been vetted and we know who they are, so we can bring good people together with other good people. All right. He said troll lives matter. All right. Yashar Discovery Channel. He says he's in London. My brother, there's the link. Click on the link, please. Click on when you click the link, sign up for membership or get the app. The app information is right there. It's coming. It's going right down here. Download the My One Church app on Apple, the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store. All right. Download it. And once you download it and install it, open it up in the zip code field, type 30064. And then once you do that, you'll see Kingdom Harbinger Ministries entry. Click on that. And then once you click on that, it'll bring you into our app. Click on membership and sign up ASAP. The more people we have signing up from London, UK, the bigger our chapter can be out there. Because there's a lot of people in London that needs this type of Israelite knowledge. They have enough of our camp brothers out there. They need this type of Israelite knowledge, and not only knowledge and information, but also to be mobilized into impacting good works in the community and presenting solutions to societal ills that our people experience there in London and the whole of UK as well. All right. Oh, so Nina Benny, you're right. It's not in the UK. You're absolutely correct. However, the link that I sent you, you can still sign up there. All right. Click on the link, sign up on that link. All right. Sign up on that link, sis. All right. Or otherwise, just email us at kingdomharbinger@gmail.com. We'll place you on our London, UK folder, and everybody in our London, UK folder will receive an email when we touch down. All right. When we touch down. No problem, Callan Riley. Enjoy the rest of your evening, my brother. All right. Facts, my brother Aishuko. You already know. Franco Hazley, thank you for that, my brother. I appreciate that. That's fine, my brother. I'm okay with different doctrine. That's how we grow. That's how we learn, my brother. We can sit down face to face and talk about it over lunch, my brother. All right. And build like brothers. No matter what our disagreements is, at the end of the day, me and you both possess our knowledge of our culture, enough of it so that we can work together and fix the problems that's going out there in the whole of the UK. We can do it together despite doctrinal differences. All right. I'm a proponent of that. All right. All right. So with that being said, family, thank you for watching. Enjoy your show. RDC World 1. Yeah, that channel's hilarious. Thank you for watching. Look forward to seeing you guys on Tuesday, on my Earth Day, when I do the special on that. Let's break that down a little bit. I'm gonna work on that on Monday for y'all on Tuesday. Sunday is my award degree ceremony. If you're on Patreon, you will see that video. I'll record, edit, and post it up on Patreon only. Patreon also going to see some of my dissertation as well. And when everything is public, probably I think it's in August, September, then everybody else will be able to see both the ceremony and you'll be able to also read my the publication of my dissertation. All right. So hopefully you enjoy that. All right. All right. So love you, family. Shout out to Mr. E in the building. Make sure you go to Mr. E's Remedies online and get you some great products for your health and wellness needs. All right. All right, family. Love y'all. Thank you for watching, man. Appreciate the support. I'll see you guys again. Peace and